Hit the record button. Double O. Hit the double O. Hit double O. Hit double O. Hit double O. Hit
Hi, good day, and welcome back to the final sessions of Cybersecurity Insights Live here on the show floor of Cisco Live in Melbourne. My name is Ben Monroe, and I am very glad to be with you.
My name is Cecile Gonzalez, and happy Friday, everyone. And today is the last day for our Cybersecurity Insights, and we're looking forward to delivering amazing content for you all.
And happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, Ben.
Do you want to name a woman that's inspired you in your life?
You know, for the past days, we've been having a lot of speakers here at Cisco Live, and some of the women that inspired me actually were Jinan Budge and Michelle Denedy. I heard their sessions for Innovation Day, and that's something that's really inspiring for me.
Great, absolutely. I would go with Michelle Denedy is extremely inspiring, and in fact, we had a panel as part of our Cybersecurity Innovation Day with Julie Canepa, our CIO from Australia, New Zealand. We had Catherine Bueller, one of our customers from Alinta, and we had Michelle Denedy rounded that out, I think. So it was a fantastic discussion around privacy and data privacy. So welcome. We've got an action-packed final morning. Maybe, Cecile, you can talk us through the agenda and tell us what's in store.
Yep. So for today, for Friday, we're still going to have amazing content. So we're going to have business insights. So to open the session for us, Ben, we have John Maynard, who's going to talk about from overwhelmed to empowered, effective security for the modern enterprise. And after that, we're going to have technical discussions as well. So we're going to have a discussion on endpoints and next-gen firewall and ASAV in public cloud. So we're going to have security services to reduce response times. And we're going to have a session about cyber extortion. That's going to be conducted with Benny from Talos.
That's fantastic. So that really is covering a huge portion of the portfolio and a number of customer problems that addresses. So if you think about what John will talk about when we first start off, is this idea that there are too many alerts. We just published our CISO benchmark study for 2019, which showed that a vast majority of our customers and our respondents to that survey are finding it very, very difficult, increasingly difficult, in fact, to keep up with the amount of information they're getting from these multi-vendor environments. Difficult to find out what's most important. So John and I will spend a bit of time talking through how we view the problem and how customers are responding, and some advice that we've got as part of the conversation with how customers can improve their response times. That's great. And then I think you mentioned...
Yes, two tech discussions that we're going to have. So we're going to have endpoints, and next-gen firewall and ASAV in public cloud. Yeah.
Well, that's great, and that addresses one of the problems that we've talked a lot about this week, which is how do you extend protection from the network beyond your own physical network into private and public cloud infrastructure. So that's fantastic, and that really dives deep into some of our technology that we have around seeing and stopping threats on the network and in cloud. Then the AMP for endpoints that you mentioned is even more critical, because the number of endpoints, of course, is increasing exponentially. The number of attacks against endpoints, against users, and users are always cited as being the weakest link by CISOs. In a way that isn't at all disrespectful. We're all human beings, and we're all sometimes prey to those phishing attacks and opening files that look legitimate but in fact turn out to be problematic. So the endpoint can very often be the first point of entry for attackers. And then I think you mentioned Talos, is that right?
Yes, correct. So I think we're going to have a good wrap up for our session this Friday, because Benny's going to be here and he's going to talk about cyber extortion.
Right, and so Cisco Talos, of course, if you like, the secret source to the Cisco security portfolio. All of the threat intelligence that they learn, whether they are researching malicious domains and the activities of malicious attackers on the internet, whether they are reverse engineering malware samples to figure out how they're made up. And of course, when you know how they're made up, you can figure out how to block them and how to remediate against them. Whatever they're doing, whether they're collaborating with different law enforcement companies in different parts of the world, collaborating with their fellow researchers in other companies, Cisco Talos is literally working 24/7 to make the internet a safer place. And so having Benny on the show, unpacking some of those discussions around different pieces of malware, as he has done all week, is going to be an absolutely super way to wrap this series. So
Correct.
That's great.
Yep, I'm very excited, Ben. So for those of you who are tuning in, we made sure that you don't miss out on anything. So please stay tuned and share the link with your colleagues. It's cisco.com/go/cybersecurity insights, and join the conversation as well. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. It's @Cisco Security, and hashtag CLMel, hashtag cybersecurity.
And I mean, hashtag Happy International Women's Day, hashtag Aloha Friday, hashtag it doesn't get any better than this, right?
Are you ready, Ben?
I am absolutely ready. Let's get John Maynard set up and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay, we'll be back shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So we've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity, and incident response. That nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this. You've got to come through on this, period.
There are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price, the war. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home.
I don't think so.
Isolating the host.
Blocking the domain.
And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.
It's all the rage these days. Companies touting machine learning this or machine learning that. So how does Cisco use it? For more effective security. Take a deeper dive into machine learning at cisco.com/go/stealthwatch. Cybersecurity threats seem to come from everywhere today. They know that layers of technology create blind spots that cover their tracks. That's why we created Cisco Threat Response. Fast detection, simple investigation, confident response.
Okay, network is all set up. Securing what connects to it is your problem.
Done.
What? How?
Cisco connects everything. Of course they have endpoint security.
That's when Barry realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Why are you still up there?
What about endpoints?
So many overfunded startups. I don't know any of them.
Cisco isn't a startup.
Whoa.
That's when Deborah realized Cisco AMP secures endpoints.
Deborah.
Why is nothing integrated?
Hey, Cisco already protects our networks. They do endpoint security too.
All endpoints like this?
Yep.
That?
Yep.
All of this?
That's when Adam realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. It's all the rage.
Welcome back to Cybersecurity Insights Live here in Melbourne on the show floor of Cisco Live, where 8,000 customers and partners have come and visited us this week to learn about everything Cisco offers, from enterprise networking and collaboration to security. We have a huge cybersecurity hub here with a SOC, a security operations center, a threat hunting capture the flag game, and this, the studio for Cybersecurity Insights Live. And I am delighted to welcome the Vice President of our Global Security Sales Organization, John Maynard. Welcome to the studio, John.
Ben, thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Great to see you. Thanks for spending time with us in Melbourne. How's your week been? Tell us what's been a highlight for you.
So, Ben, cybersecurity is on the top of everyone's mind, and whether it's here in the insights, whether it's at the threat wall, whether it's in our cybersecurity operations center, whether it's the meetings that have happened around Cisco Live Melbourne with customers and partners and analysts and press, a phenomenal showing from cybersecurity, a phenomenal interest in what we're doing, and it really proves out that customers are struggling. Customers are really struggling with this problem, and Cisco's here to help with a very full portfolio of offerings.
And you run our worldwide organization, John, so you spend a lot of time in the UK and in Europe, you spend a lot of time in the US. Have you noticed any differences here in Australia? Are you hearing the same concerns from our security leaders?
So I'm hearing the same concerns, right? We're really the fact that we have this sophisticated adversary that's highly organized, highly sophisticated, and frankly is collaborative. When we as an industry struggle to collaborate, across organizations, across governments, we have this thing that no other industry has, which is an evolving threat service, but a highly sophisticated adversary that is collaborative and constantly attacking our defenses. And we hear that across the board from security leaders around the world. Just staying ahead of that adversary and making sure our defenses are in place and that we've got the right tools and the right techniques and the right people. These are consistent themes around the world.
So the internet's a dangerous place wherever you are, and defending against the threats that are born by it is going to be difficult, whether you're in Australia or any other places.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is a global business, right? And we've estimated that the adversarial landscape is $6 trillion, right? This is, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And the fact is, this is the largest economic transfer of wealth ever in favor of the adversary.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of money. Like we're all in business. We all look at addressable markets. $6 trillion sounds pretty attractive, and you can see why people are drawn towards that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think hopefully, luckily, there are a lot of us working to make that, to stop that happening, right? To kind of get in the way of that.
That's true. And cybersecurity budgets within our customers are increasingly getting prioritized. They're growing, but as an industry, we spend $3 trillion, right? So the adversary is effectively double what we're spending on defense.
Okay, so they're collaborating, they've got sophisticated tools, turns out they're outspending us.
Correct.
This is possibly a good segue into our topic this morning, which is a message that you're giving around the world, and that's talking about moving from being overpowered to being overwhelmed, excuse me, to being empowered. I mean, this is where the overpowering comes from, is it?
Well, I mean, Ben, I feel completely overwhelmed and overempowered by your shirt, which is it's lovely. I've got to be honest, but absolutely right. So our whole message to customers around the world, in conjunction with a phenomenal set of partners that we work with that are here. Learning about the portfolio, learning about what we can do, is how can we help customers with this changing threat landscape? And, frankly, today's risk reality has changed, right? Our attack surface is increasing exponentially. You think about IoT devices, you think about what's happening with 5G and Wi-Fi 6. The things connecting to our network and the attack surface is only going to increase. And that creates vulnerabilities, and we're connecting insecure devices to the network, and the reality is we're connecting more insecure devices than secure devices right now. Then you've got the seminal technology transition of our time, which is the multi-cloud transition. How do you start to think about security controls in a multi-cloud world? How do you drive the same level of protection, same level of visibility, same level of ability to remediate on-premise and in the cloud? Then you've got bring your own device. So it's no longer abnormal. It's an expectation that I can use my iPhone, I use my tablet, whatever it may be. But that fundamentally changes how you start to think about security controls. The identity and the endpoint become increasingly important. And I mentioned about the sophisticated adversary. You've got this that's constantly developing as well.
And of course, as a chief information security officer or as a security leader, you have this environment where your workforce in their private lives have their fridge connected to their phone, connected to their shopping list. I just read this week that there are now Bluetooth-enabled diapers, so that parents are going to get an alert on their phone when they need to go change their child's nappy. When phones have all of this information on these apps that sit alongside their banking apps and their work email and access to what devices, it's no wonder that there are problems. The attack surface is almost beyond control. And of course, the CISO is supposed to respond in a way that enables the same level of innovation to occur in the workplace. And so you can see why it's a difficult situation for them to be in.
And that's one part of the story. Imagine critical national infrastructure where operational technology and oil rigs and processing plants are being connected to the network, right? These are not secure by design. So even when you start to look at operational technology being kept connected and transiting IP traffic over the IT network, fundamentally changes the security paradigm. And we mentioned about the adversary. The attack landscape is constantly evolving. So 18 months, we were talking about ransomware. We were talking about WannaCry, Petya, non-Petya, Bad Rabbit. We've now evolved. The adversary's now evolved. There's a better business model for the adversary, which is crypto mining. And so we've seen a massive increase in crypto mining. Effectively, think about it, it's under the radar. You're not going to know because you're going to see CPU usage being used across. So you may see a degradation in performance, but it's a subscription model for the adversary, right? So it's innovation in how they make money. So, the fact that we're constantly changing and we're seeing different attacks, this is what shows up in our customers today.
Sure. And I think that the attackers are also learning how to make their malware modular so that they can land an endpoint, figure out what that endpoint is, and then decide what to do with it. So if it's a high-end gaming PC in a market with high GDP, it could be used for crypto mining, use the compute power for that. Or they could also launch a ransomware attack, just depending on what they see as the value of the target they've landed in.
Yeah, and a good example of that is Emotet, right? This is a banking Trojan originally, which is now being used as a large-scale malware distribution network, right? So we're using these tools, and they're using them in the best way to affect their attacks.
Sounds like you and I work in Cisco Talos, John.
We love Cisco Talos.
We do, and we're hearing from them later. So Benny's going to be on the show talking a bit more about some of the latest attacks.
Excellent, excellent. So, and the fact is, as a defending organization, we are trying to defend about what Talos is seeing every day. We're defending against these adversaries with an extremely fragmented, complex security environment. So our customers have built up security controls, buying niche technology to solve a single niche problem in security, and that's led to some of our customers having 50, 60, 70 security controls and vendors in their environment that frankly don't talk to each other. You don't have visibility across them, they don't communicate correctly, and then when something does happen, impossible to remediate at scale, at the speed that you need to remediate.
Sure, so we saw in the CISO benchmark study that we've just launched this week, that an increase of our respondents have said how difficult it is to try and orchestrate alerts across the environment you're talking about, across this vendor buffet, which is hugely difficult. And the industry itself has got to take more seriously, right? The ability to help CISOs navigate that more. I think we've also talked about the number of alerts that are therefore getting through slipping through the gaps, if you like, right?
Yeah, and this is what happens, right? When you've got multiple vendors in your environment, multiple security technologies, the amount of information that's now rolling up to the security operations center, the alerts that they see, is frankly overwhelming, right? And most of those alerts are noise, right? So it's filtering out the noise and then finding what's important, what's not important. But most of the legitimate alerts, even when we see it, we can't remediate it. So about half of them, we can't even get to remediation. And we saw that in breaches like the Target breach. you know, the SOC was alerted where they actually had this in their SOC, but they couldn't get to it. They couldn't filter through the noise.
Right, so when half the alerts don't get attended to, and then half the legitimate alerts, kind of give or take, then don't get remediated, you're leaving behind an awful lot of potential harm. And I think for us to take a responsible place in this ecosystem, trying to help solve that is critical.
Yeah, and we've just released our APJC CISO benchmarking report. And in that report, you know, frankly, here in APJC, 93% of the security leaders responding to that survey said that the fact that they cannot see and the number of alerts is one of their biggest problems.
Yeah.
And that's worse than worldwide, right? So it's a real problem, an acute problem here in the APJC region.
One of the conversations we've had a lot this week, and I'm sure for you as well, is around Cisco Threat Response, right? Which we announced about a year ago, so it's about a year old now. We've gathered thousands of customers during that time, and this is obviously a tool, a browser-based tool that helps to, first of all, check threat intelligence sources on one side, and then check internal tools on the other side. And that, you know, obviously very difficult to build, but very, very simple to use, like a search engine for threat.
Yeah.
You can see the enthusiasm and the need for more solutions like that.
Well, and that's that's been a game changer for Cisco, and it's been a game changer for our customers. So, you know, our customers were asking, saying, look, you've got so much intelligence in Talos, you've got so much threat efficacy in your security solutions, whether it's email, whether it's network, whether it's cloud. Bring that all together in a simple visualization for the SOC. You know, allow me to investigate at scale, very simply. And so Cisco Threat Response is that single pane of glass for the Security Operations Center, brings everything together. You know, think of it as the Google search for security, right? And it's that simple. And frankly, then what's important, being able to visualize and see what's happening is important, but you're thinking about two-click remediation. I can go on there, I can see the endpoint that's infected, and I can literally, with one click of the mouse, I can quarantine that endpoint. That's very powerful.
Right, and then you can block against the file, for example, or the URL, or the domain, any kind of connection to it. And that's huge. We had Tim Snow on the show earlier this week demoing that, and when anyone sees the 1, 2, 3 click approach to finding the problem, you know, scoping the problem and then blocking the problem, it's just it's insanely good. And I think it shows that threat intelligence is the first part of the problem, but making that into something that can take action is the next part. It's no good knowing about something unless you do something about it.
That's right, and you know, and I think one of the things that we got feedback from customers, and we made this decision at Cisco, you know, a long time ago, is that we have to be open as a platform. We have to have highly programmable APIs so that we can deploy Cisco Threat Response into the SOC, but it can integrate with your SIEM, it can integrate with your other tools. So it plays very nicely with what our existing customers have already made some investments, but it does simplify what they can do.
Right. We don't want to be part of the problem of another tool for another to solve another issue.
Absolutely.
So let's pivot a little bit and talk about kind of identity and the other part of the security equation, if you like, because it's not just hackers breaking in, is it?
It's not, and you know, even in the CISO benchmarking report, the user awareness and the risk of the employee base is the number one issue. It always has been in security, and it always will be. You know, the fact that I can compromise your credentials, Ben, and I think I can act like you, but we never know. But the fact I can compromise your credentials and then I have full access to everything that Ben has access to, you know, that's the biggest risk, right? And we've seen like 81% of breaches leverage, frankly, risks of the user, stolen credentials, right? And that's why we made the acquisition of Duo Security. It brings us into multi-factor authentication. It allows us to drive trust in the user, so really be able to authenticate you as Ben, but also the device that you're using. So I've got trust in you as a user. I've got trust in the device that you use, whether it's jailbroken, whether it's hygienic from an operating system perspective. That's a phenomenal capability that we bring to market now.
Yeah, and you hear a lot in the industry right now about various terminology around zero trust, right? So the zero trust architecture and framework, etc. You hear about Carter and other terms that are used around this. And I think it's very important that we've taken a very pragmatic approach to saying, okay, well, the vision is going to be continuous trust verification across all those devices you were talking about earlier, across the billions of IoT devices. Clearly, we're not there as an industry yet, but we can make some really solid recommendations for device and user verification and multi-factor authentication, and then just having some practices around not assuming that once you've established trust, it's good forever, or even once a day is important too, right?
So we believe in continuous threat intelligence and continuous verification of trust, and that's the portfolio, and that's our approach. But what we're also driving, Ben, is our customers need to understand what is real in their environment, what is dangerous, and then what's important. And the intersection of those things is where the focus of our customers' investments should be. And that's when you start to think about the risk that you talked about of the user and the device and the trusted device. The intersection of that intelligence and that trust verification is where our customers are thinking about building zero trust networks, how I build adaptive policy for applications, whether they're on-premise, they're in the cloud. And all that comes together, frankly, in Cisco, in the fact that we have a fully integrated portfolio. And this brings a very powerful solution to the problem of fragmentation. It brings a very powerful solution to context. So we bring a lot of context to threat detection through this platform. We can enforce security capability anywhere in our customers. And it really allows our customers to then drive a single place to manage, right? This is complex, so a single place to manage, a single place to define policy, and threat intelligence integrated through that platform. But also the fact that we've got this open architecture. So we've got 160 third-party integrations. So we work very seamlessly with the customers' investments they've already made. But our customers are saying, I've made these investments. I want a way to move to the Cisco architecture, the Cisco platform over time. And our strategy has enabled them to do that.
Yeah, we had IBM in the studio earlier this week. We've had Exabeam in talking about how we kind of work with them and how the complementary solution should work better. Because as you say, customers have made investments, and there's always going to be a multi-vendor environment of sorts, and we need to make sure that we're a proactive and positive part of that as opposed to part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Very good. And so I think one of the things I wanted to land on with this discussion, John, was our advice, right? So we've talked about the problem. We've talked about what we've done as an organization to build, but when you talk to customers and they say, okay, John, what do I do? What are my first steps? Where would we say they could start?
Yeah, so the customer conversations that we're having now and the conversations our partners are having, it's not about a single control point in the portfolio. Our CISOs and security leaders are effectively asking us, bring to bear your portfolio and help me solve a problem. And so whether that problem is ransomware or crypto mining, we have a portfolio and a solution that can help our customers there. Whether it's the hybrid cloud transition, we have a portfolio that we can help our customers move there. Whether it's security operations and threat response and the ability to bring that into the security operations center, again, our customers are asking us the question, how do I improve security operations? How do I drive situational awareness? And these are the types of conversations that we should be having with our customers. And they're really resonating today because they solve a problem that our CISOs are having.
Sure, and while our CISOs are trying to solve problems like that as well, of course, the larger IT organization, for example, is saying, okay, we're going to move to Office 365. Yes. We're going to build a new data center, or we're going to build a hybrid data center strategy, or whatever it might be. We're expanding. We just acquired a new company. We are rolling out new branches, whatever. There's a lot of IT transformation going on that CISOs need to be a part of.
Yes.
So helping provide them with the confidence and the material that says, okay, we can add security into those projects at a foundational level, I think is critical.
Well, and security has a bad rap of the past, right? We're the guys that say no, right? And we want to enable the security leader and the CISO to say yes to the business. Yes, but.
Yeah.
Right? And to be able to have that security conversation and enable the business to do what it does best, which is make revenue, keep customers happy, and drive their solutions into the market.
Right. And so that, I think that lands very nicely on the explanation of being overwhelmed and moving towards being empowered. I think that's a great way of landing that one.
And we saw in our CISO benchmarking report, frankly, that cyber fatigue in our customers has come down.
Right.
And I think that's a sign that security leaders are starting to get their head above water and starting to really start to solve the problem.
feeling a bit more optimistic
Bit more
about
optimistic,
it,
yeah.
seeing a strategy. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So I wanted to just to segue in the last moment or two to say, look, we're at Cisco Live, 8,000 Cisco customers here visiting the show floor. Not every one of those perhaps knows that Cisco is a security company. What do you say to people when you hear that, or how does that manifest itself? And what are some of the talking points that you use to illustrate the expertise that we have?
Yeah. So the fact is, Ben, we are the largest enterprise cybersecurity company in the world. Right? We've been very considered about how we built the portfolio. We've developed capabilities organically through R&D and inorganically through acquisitions. Right now we're a $2 billion plus revenue company. Our Q2 results, we grew the business at 18% year on year from a revenue perspective. We see more threats than anyone in Talos. We've got the largest non-governmental threat research organization in the world. And the breadth of that telemetry, it just dwarfs anyone else in the market, but it's collaborative. So we take intelligence from our partners. So we're curating that intelligence through Talos. We have 250,000 security customers around the world. This is a phenomenal capability here at Cisco.
And it's a market, of course, in which the scale and size does matter because of the ability that gives you to see more. And when you see more, you can block more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Well, John, listen, that's been wonderful, been enlightening. Thank you very much for spending time with us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your time. And thank you for tuning in. We will see you in about 5 minutes' time. We have the network security technology pushed into public cloud environments. Join us for that. We have endpoint security. We have customer success. And we're going to round out with Cisco Talos, some threat intelligence. Thanks for joining Cybersecurity Insights Live, and see you later.
This is a firewall, but it does so much more than just access control and filtering. It's a Cisco Next Generation firewall that prevents breaches automatically so your business never goes down. Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit, and Cisco firewall customers were automatically protected. We have Talos, the largest independent threat research team on the planet, who analyze millions of threats daily and create security protections against the next big attack. Worried that your firewall isn't showing you the full picture? The Cisco Firewall gives you the deepest and broadest visibility across your network. It continuously monitors for suspicious activity to detect and stop threats fast. The Cisco Firewall automates networking and security operations. It prioritizes alerts, correlates threat information, and integrates with the rest of your security tools, saving time and headaches. Don't let your firewall work you. Make it work for you. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. Say hello to Cisco SD-WAN. We've integrated an enterprise firewall, intrusion prevention system, and URL filtering, and protected by Cisco Talos. Learn more at cisco.com/go/SD-WAN-security. Whether you're establishing trust for a user and their devices or reducing your attack surface, Cisco Trusted Access is a practical, zero-trust approach to security. Take your first step with Cisco's multi-factor authentication, and then continue your journey to rebuild trust.
This is our best quarter to date, and I don't want a security issue to mess up the call. We all know what happened to Qualcomm. They didn't discover that.
Any problems?
Possibly.
Earnings reports within the hour. Solve this.
I need absolute guarantee.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So I've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity and incident response, that nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this issue. You've got to come through on this, period.
There are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price, the war. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home.
I don't think so.
Isolating the host.
Blocking the domain.
And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.
You know what CISOs really need?
More alerts?
No.
More security tools?
Hashtag double no.
Wait, I got it. Another annual security report?
Jeez, I think I just threw up a little. Those reports are always chock full of stats providing zero insight. No, what CISOs really need is a good night's sleep. One without the shivers, sweats, and screaming nightmares caused by a constant barrage of security incidents. The blocking, investigating, remediating, asking Mario and HR to stop clicking on phishing links yet again. It is like mowing your lawn with tweezers.
How do we know this? We're not psychic.
Negative, Ghost Rider. We simply asked. You see, we surveyed thousands of CISOs worldwide, and they told us they're drowning in complexity, facing increased cost, and sweating the breaches. Some are doing okay, like those taking breach readiness seriously enough to put Mario in regular cybersecurity training. It turns out the best prepared CISOs are those collaborating with their networking colleagues. They're making sure security is foundational and not an IT afterthought.
So how do you join this group of CISOs? The ones sleeping better at night.
First step, read what CISOs have to say. Get an incisive look inside the mind of people like you. Pick up tips and tricks to doing security better. No need to wade through hundreds of pages on annual security blabber. Besides, 47.625% of those statistics are generally made up anyway. This is a concise, relevant, data-driven report about security on the internet by the company that built the internet. Forget about the unrivaled breadth, depth, and scope. Our decades of cybersecurity expertise? Take it from me. This study is from the best threat intelligence organization on the planet. It is the stuff to make any CISO sleep better. Read the full Cisco 2019 CISO Benchmark Study at cisco.com/go/security reports.
This is a firewall, but it does so much more than just access control and filtering. It's a Cisco Next Generation firewall that prevents breaches automatically so your business never goes down. Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit, and Cisco firewall customers were automatically protected. We have Talos, the largest independent threat research team on the planet, who analyze millions of threats daily and create security protections against the next big attack. Worried that your firewall isn't showing you the full picture? The Cisco firewall gives you the deepest and broadest visibility across your network. It continuously monitors for suspicious activity to detect and stop threats fast. The Cisco firewall automates networking and security operations. It prioritizes alerts, correlates threat information, and integrates with the rest of your security tools, saving time and headaches. Don't let your firewall work you. Make it work for you. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. Say hello to Cisco SD-WAN. We've integrated an enterprise firewall, intrusion prevention system, and URL filtering, and protected by Cisco Talos. Learn more at cisco.com/go/SD-WAN-security. Whether you're establishing trust for a user and their devices or reducing your attack surface, Cisco Trusted Access is a practical, zero-trust approach to security. Take your first step with Cisco's multi-factor authentication, and then continue your journey to rebuild trust.
This is our best quarter to date, and I don't want a security issue to mess up the call. We all know what happened to Qualcomm. They didn't discover that.
Any problems?
Possibly.
Earnings reports within the hour.
They're no longer a business.
Solve this.
I need absolute guarantee.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So we've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity, and incident response. That nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this. You've got to come through on security.
There are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price, the board. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home.
I don't think so.
Isolating the host.
Blocking the domain.
And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.
Good morning from Friday morning at Cisco Live in the studio here. Everyone's a little bit crusty, big night last night, but I'm from Cisco's security group, and I'm here with Krishnan from the Enterprise Policy and Access group, and we're here to talk about IoT and endpoints. And Krishnan, you pose this interesting question right here, you know, are your endpoints and assets safe? And being a security practitioner, safe is a really important word to me, and I think that there's, how do we take that word safe and try and apply it to IoT? What's going on there?
Right, absolutely. So first, it's been a pleasure being in Cisco Live Melbourne, and I had a couple of sessions as well. In fact, I had a session about this, and are your endpoints IoT assets safe on Wednesday? So the question is, right, we interact with these IoT devices every day, and I wanted to bring up a couple of data points. And in fact, our SVP GM for IoT in 2018 keynote, and she brought this up as well. Now the thing is, you cannot imagine that we will have 4,800 interactions by 2025 with these IoT devices, which means, this is per day, which means that we will have 18 interactions per second.
18?
18 interactions per second.
Wow.
And this is a survey by IDC, right? And there is also another point I wanted to bring up. And these IoT devices are expected to send around 163 zettabytes of data. You know what 1 zettabyte is?
That's a lot. I mean,
it's a trillion gigabytes.
And we're going to have a network that carries that.
Right, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And you know, I'll give you an example. So if a Great Wall of China is one brick, you can have 283 Great Walls of China with that.
Wow. I guess, and that's part of the change, isn't it? I think IoT, we were thinking about it. You know, I'm actually an applied chemist by qualification, so I actually built a keg line, actually. And so IoT for me were, you know, PLC controllers and, you know, valves and switches and so on. I mean, the definition of IoT has even changed. I mean, because the numbers growing because the types of IoT is changing, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, people have different definitions of IoT, and people in IT, for people in IT, the mobile phones, the cameras, and the printers, and they think that as an IoT device. It could be very well as an IoT device, but when you're in industry, right, manufacturing, you have PLCs, I/O sensors, and those would be the typical IoT devices.
Okay.
But the idea is that the explosion of the IoT devices has increased the attack surface.
Yeah.
And we have seen and heard attacks from Mirai, and so many other malware infections.
Yeah.
And these have cost industries billions of dollars.
Okay.
Right? So what do you need to do first to secure this IoT devices? That is a big question.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because, I mean, attack surface is a really, it's a powerful word. And certainly when you're trying to be opportunistic in terms of trying to hack something or trying to take control over something, and I think the taking over of control was one concept of IoT security for a while there in terms of I want to, disrupt this thing. But what's been really interesting as of late is that adversaries are not just going after the controller or the IoT device to try and mess with it, but to actually just use its compute and use its bandwidth and use its access to the network. And that's that. Would you like to talk about that? Because that's where, instead of it being that the device is actually acting in a dangerous manner, it's actually just acting under someone else's control.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And this is when you actually study about Mirai, right? Like they said that within 6 minutes of exposure of an IoT device to the internet, it got infected.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say is that, like, you need to make these devices visible. That would be the first priority, and as a big enterprise. So without visibility, there is no security.
Well,
you
there's
need
no
to
even
know
control.
where it is.
There's no even control. You can't control what you can't see.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing you have to go after. You need to know where these devices are, and you need to know what these devices are first, and how to identify these devices. So that is the first answer to your question.
Right.
Your end goal is security.
Right.
But the first step is visibility.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Again, it's the foundation. You can't control what you can't see, but how can we actually start to see and understand? I mean, by implication, because these are devices, it might not even be easy to actually put something on there to understand. Where do we get that visibility from? How, are we trying to profile? Are we trying to? I mean, you're talking about so many devices. How can a network actually keep up with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a product that actually provides these device visibility. But before that, right? Like, you need to think about visibility from a point of view of what happens, right? If you are searching for something, if you go to a new city, right, and then you are looking at an address and you wanted to go to a house. So what do you need to think about is that the location, right, the shape,
right,
the color, right, the street address, and how does the house look like? So these are some of the characteristics you think of when you're searching for a house. The same thing applies in the network. You need to know a few key things. Maybe the location,
sure,
right? What is the hardware,
sure,
software,
yep,
an operating system, maybe the device type model number. These are something called fingerprints. Yep. And every device sends out this information. And it's a trick to find this information. So there are only a few key aspects that you need to know to identify these devices. And once you understand these key aspects, and once you understand these device types as well, because there are several different device types, and you have your mobile devices, and
sure,
there are users behind these devices. You use mobile devices in a different way, right? And you have headless devices.
Sure.
Headless device. When I mean headless devices,
yep,
I mean the printers,
yep,
IP phones, and they don't have agents
yeah,
that sends out information,
sure,
right? You need to look at it in a slightly different way.
So you're actually saying that you're trying to build context so that you can start to imply intent of the device, because it could well be an interactive device or it could be an autonomous device, and of course the way that an attacker might try to seek control of those types of devices is different, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So once you understand the intent behind, once you understand the type of the device, then you can define the intent. Say, for example, like if you have, you spoke about PLCs and I/O sensors, right? You also have building management system, cameras. So does the camera need to talk to an employee laptop?
Yeah, and so that's an interesting point about IoT cameras. I mean, you know, it might surprise the viewers here, but one of the largest DDoS attacks in history was actually generated by hundreds of thousands of cheap Chinese manufactured security cameras, right?
Absolutely.
So, and there was just a vulnerability in the camera that allowed it to be used in a DDoS.
Yes.
Is that kind of the future? Is that where we're going to in terms of this exponential attack surface, that the stuff that we think is making, you know, this convenience and this next generation environment that we're in, is it going to turn against us? Is that?
Yes, you know, that's what we are. That's what the trajectory shows, and that's what we've heard, and that's what the survey says. That's what we see every day, right? So, speaking about intent-based groups, right? So once you identify these different devices, right, you can group them. You can group them based on business intent. I don't want my cameras to talk to my employee laptops.
Right.
But I want my employee laptops to talk to a print server because I want to print, right?
Yeah,
so these are business intent. So if you start grouping them by business intent, so the next step is you need to get visibility of these things.
So just rewind there a second. So the first step. So, you know, for any sort of technical solution, there's got to be a combination of people, process, and technology.
Right.
What you're starting to talk about there is, in some respects, the process. Is that a process, or is that actually a technology that can help you with that?
It's a process. Right. So I would say you have to look at it from a high-level consideration, so that once you understand understand what you need to do, right, and then the why comes into play, and then the how.
Right.
Right. So first you group these devices by intent, and then get visibility. In fact, we have a product called Identity Services Engine that gathers visibility from the network.
Right.
So the trick is to turn it on,
right,
and then listen to these information that the endpoints and the IoT devices send.
Sure.
Right. And in fact, we have something called profiles.
Right.
And we have around 1,500 plus profiles, and that can detect different types of devices.
Wow.
We have the medical devices, we have the automation and control, and we have enterprise IT devices as well. And we have embedded systems. So we have tons of devices like that. In fact, once ICE gathers this information, right, it shares this information with the ecosystem partners.
Right.
We have around 120 plus ecosystem partners, which includes Cisco products as well. So they can consume this context. So once ICE identifies the devices and makes the devices visible in its beautiful, nice dashboards, right, then you can apply policies in your enterprise, in IT or in the OT side, so that you can contain any infection which is happening,
right,
or based on the intent, based on what your business intent is, you can apply policies, right, so that your employee laptops do not talk to cameras, but your employee laptops should talk to print servers.
Hang on, so you're actually now starting to imply, you know, intent-based networking.
Absolutely.
But hang on, rewind. I mean, conventional networks are VLANs and ACLs. And how are we meant to change our network radically, or is it, you know, you're talking about something next gen here. I mean, is it hard? I mean, what's underpinning this?
Great question. And this is not something new, and we've been doing this for a few years. And we used to call this a technology called TrustSec, and now we call this SD-access, micro segmentation, and all that. Now, the idea behind this is that, like now, when you use VLANs and traditional ways of segmenting, you layer segmentation on top of one another. You need VLANs, and you need IP addresses. And you need ACLs.
Yeah.
I used to be a network administrator before, right? If you think about the ACLs, and there could be thousands of ACLs, and ACLs are based on IP addresses.
Yes, they are.
And if you think about IoT devices, you have a huge set of IoT devices that wants to talk to a data center app.
Yeah.
Now imagine the number of ACLs you need, right, if you wanted to speak to a data center server, right? And imagine that I leave. I'm an admin, and I leave, right? The next person who comes in, he has no idea about the context.
Of course.
And he has no idea the relevance, and if there are loopholes, if there are gaps. And what is the business intent?
There's complexity in there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been into some customers, and they've got hundreds of thousands of ACLs, layers upon layers of just accumulated pinholes, essentially. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if we were scraping that back and making it, as you're saying, intent-based, I mean, does that mean that the VLANs go away, or is it simply that we're trying to abstract what the network's doing?
So we're exactly that, and we are actually abstracting what the ACLs and VLANs, and we are abstracting that to a level where we apply groups, right, based on roles and based on the context.
Right.
Right. So ICE provides a way to make these devices very visible, and based on the role and the context, it can assign groups.
Right.
And these groups are based on intent.
Right.
So for cameras, you have different groups.
Right.
And for your printers and for your employees, for guests, and there are different groups. Once you apply these groups, the network is group aware.
Right.
These are called SGTs, or scalable group tags.
Right.
It's like your badge, right?
Yeah,
it allows you access. The same way, the network is aware of that. The beauty of this is this is mobile, right? And you can use the same tags anywhere you go, and this walks with you in the network.
It's interesting you say that. So as you were saying, SGTs, I mean, I've been at Cisco for a while. For me, SGT was security group tag. So you're saying it's now scalable group tag.
It's all the same.
Well, it is, but using the word scalable is actually far more powerful because it acknowledges the exponential explosion of IoT.
Absolutely.
And, to have this intent-based network, and you're talking about this massive network and so on, yeah, sure, I can do this, but how is it sustainable and how is it scalable? So is ICE and SGTs the scalable way to now create a next-generation network that can handle IoT even because of just the sheer numbers of IoT that's coming?
Right, absolutely. So, you don't need tags for every device, and we support around 65,000 tags. But in an enterprise network, we've seen that at an average, you need only 50 to 100 tags.
Really?
That's
all?
That's all.
Wow.
So imagine you have lights, you have cameras, and you have printers and all that, and these don't require individual tags, and you group them, and then you tag them. Once you tag them, you apply policies, and you can apply policy with SD-access anywhere in the network.
Right.
And it provides flexibility.
But also an elegance, which I guess comes back to people process technology, in that we're now allowing for policy constructs that help the technology, which ultimately for the people means that they can actually focus on monitoring and securing and actually, making the IoT network do what it should be doing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And certainly, in some of the stuff that I work with as well, if the network can handle 97% of the stuff itself, then I guess the interesting stuff sort of bubbles to the top, isn't it? And because in some respects, an IoT network, if you're saying in policy that you define what the network should do, then when the network is not doing what it's doing, or an endpoint's not doing what it's doing, then it's easier to find it, right?
Right, absolutely. So that's where the behavioral-based analytics comes into play, right? And you have ICE and you have Stealth Watch. I spoke to you about PX Grid, and ICE has a PubSub channel.
Right.
It's a shared framework where ICE can share context with other devices, other security devices and ecosystem partners. And Stealth Watch is one. Once Stealth Watch understands that it is an anomaly, then it can ask ICE to quarantine. So the first step would be visibility. And then you can look at the behavior using Stealth Watch. And then you can apply policies.
Okay, so as we're coming to an end then, and we've spoken a lot about lots of different aspects here. So if we were to really sort of scrape this back, the problem is huge.
Yes.
Massive IoT, and it's going to get bigger. The network and the demands of the network it's not so much that the network can't handle it, but it's existing legacy policy constructs like ACLs and VLANs and so on. It's not going to actually be able to handle this. So we had to think about how we can essentially rewire how the network is run, right? Okay, so that's step one, defining that policy.
Right, absolutely.
So from a policy point of view, then it's about implementation of a policy, right?
So the first step, as you said, is this. You group the devices by intent, and once you group the devices by intent, logically you know where to apply policies. But before that, right, you need to get device visibility.
Right.
That's where.
Okay, so visibility from start. Okay.
Yes.
What's next?
So after that, once you gather visibility from ICE, right, and then you can apply policies based on these grouping.
Okay.
Right. ICE gathers context from the network,
right,
and then it can assign the scalable group tags.
Okay, so visibility, now it's context and policy.
Yes.
What, anything else that I need?
And after that, like you need to apply these policies across the
and then you
network.
apply it. Okay.
Absolutely. And ICE can provision these policies as well.
Right.
ICE can provide visibility, ICE can provision policy.
Right.
So if you think about ICE acts as a bridge between visibility and security policy.
Awesome. We're right bang on time. So look, I want to thank you for your time today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that was of interest. And Gary's Perry signing off.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Thanks.
This is a firewall, but it does so much more than just access control and filtering. It's a Cisco Next Generation firewall that prevents breaches automatically so your business never goes down. Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit, and Cisco firewall customers were automatically protected. We have Talos, the largest independent threat research team on the planet, who analyze millions of threats daily and create security protections against the next big attack. Worried that your firewall isn't showing you the full picture? The Cisco Firewall gives you the deepest and broadest visibility across your network. It continuously monitors for suspicious activity to detect and stop threats fast. The Cisco Firewall automates networking and security operations. It prioritizes alerts, correlates threat information, and integrates with the rest of your security tools, saving time and headaches. Don't let your firewall work you. Make it work for you. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. Say hello to Cisco SD-WAN. We've integrated an enterprise firewall, intrusion prevention system, and URL filtering. and protected by Cisco Talos. Learn more at cisco.com/go/SD-WAN-security. Whether you're establishing trust for a user and their devices or reducing your attack surface, Cisco Trusted Access is a practical, zero-trust approach to security. Take your first step with Cisco's multi-factor authentication and then continue your journey to rebuild trust.
This is our best quarter to date, and I don't want a security issue to mess up the call team. We all know what happened to Qualcomm. They didn't discover that.
Any problems?
Possibly.
Earnings reports within the hour.
They're no longer a business.
Solve this.
I need absolute guarantees.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So we've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity, and incident response. That nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this. You've got to come through on security.
There are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price, the board. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home.
I don't think so.
Isolating the host.
Blocking the domain.
And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.
You know what CISOs really need?
More alerts?
No.
More security tools?
Hashtag double no.
Wait, I got it. Another annual security report?
Jeez, I think I just threw up a little. Those reports are always chock full of stats providing zero insight. No, what CISOs really need is a good night's sleep. One without the shivers, sweats, and screaming nightmares caused by a constant barrage of security incidents. The blocking, investigating, remediating, asking Mario and HR to stop clicking on phishing links yet again. It is like mowing your lawn with tweezers.
How do we know this? We're not psychic.
Negative, Ghost Rider. We simply asked. You see, we surveyed thousands of CISOs worldwide, and they told us they're drowning in complexity, facing increased cost, and sweating the breaches. Some are doing okay, like those taking breach readiness seriously enough to put Mario in regular cybersecurity training. It turns out the best prepared CISOs are those collaborating with their networking colleagues. They're making sure security is foundational and not an IT afterthought.
So how do you join this group of CISOs? The ones sleeping better at night.
First step, read what CISOs have to say. Get an incisive look inside the mind of people like you. Pick up tips and tricks to doing security better. No need to wade through hundreds of pages on annual security blabber. Besides, 47.625% of those statistics are generally made up anyway. This is a concise, relevant, data-driven report about security on the internet by the company that built the internet. Forget about the unrivaled breadth, depth, and scope. Our decades of cybersecurity expertise? Take it from me. This study is from the best threat intelligence organization on the planet. It is the stuff to make any CISO sleep better. Read the full Cisco 2019 CISO benchmark study at cisco.com/go/security reports.
It's all the rage these days. Companies touting machine learning this or machine learning that. So how does Cisco use it? For more effective security. Take a deeper dive into machine learning at cisco.com/go/stealthwatch. Cybersecurity threats seem to come from everywhere today. They know that layers of technology create blind spots that cover their tracks. That's why we created Cisco Threat Response. Fast detection, simple investigation, confident response.
Okay, network is all set up. Securing what connects to it is your problem.
Done.
What? How?
Cisco connects everything. Of course they have endpoint security.
That's when Barry realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Why are you still up there?
What about endpoints?
So many overfunded startups, I don't know any of them.
Cisco isn't a startup.
Whoa.
That's when Deborah realized Cisco AMP secures endpoints.
Deborah? Deborah.
Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw.
Hello, good morning. My name's Chris. I work for Cisco Security, and this is Nuphav. You also work for Cisco Security.
Yeah, that's right.
So what do you do for Cisco Security?
I work for a technical marketing team. I'm part of Security Business Group, and I work on virtual security appliances, majorly ASI and next generation firewall on hypervisors and public cloud.
Ah, so your focus is on the clouds.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we're going to talk a bit about that in a bit more detail. We'll start off high level. So what's happening in the cloud, and what are the security challenges that customers are facing these days?
Well, that's a good question. Let me step back 10 years ago when I used to be part of a deployment team. It was really a good environment where we had full visibility and control of everything that we had in the data center.
You knew where everything was, all the time.
Yeah, all the time. But now, trend is changing at the moment, and we have customers moving their workloads and applications everywhere, right? Applications can go to public cloud, maybe some kind of partner site. So with this, we are losing visibility and control. Okay.
You can't see it, you can't protect it. It's what I hear about all the time.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That's the case.
That's right. That's why at Cisco we are thinking of giving, or not thinking, we are giving solutions that can protect your workloads in cloud as well. And at the same time, you can have same kind of security policy visibility in cloud as well. So imagine you have a lot of workloads in your data center. You are doing everything with next generation firewall or ASA.
All within the perimeter, comfortable, you can see everything.
Yeah, right. We are giving that kind of same visibility in public cloud as well, Amazon and Azure. Yeah.
Okay, so how do people start to think about the problem? What are the challenges that people are facing? Visibility, obviously, but what else happens when you move your workload to the cloud?
Visibility is one of the big challenges in the cloud. The second big challenge that I see is lack of layer 2. So layer 2 visibility is not there, which will stop them from deploying features like HA, transparent firewall, inline pairs. So we work very closely with these cloud providers, and we work on integrating our solution with their native load balancers so that we can provide more resilient and high available designs.
Just because you move to the cloud doesn't mean you don't need resilience anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And the cloud, you might think of it being infinitely resilient, but there's still points of failure that you need to account for. Is that the point of it?
Yeah, that's right. Because workloads are exactly the same. They hold same importance in cloud as well. So we definitely need resilient design there. So that's why we integrate with them so that we provide a lot of good solutions. Yeah.
So you mentioned about policy earlier. Do people like to have consistent policies for the on-prem data center, the hybrid or public cloud? How do we organize that for them?
Yeah, that's a pretty good point that you brought up today. So we have our virtual appliances, physical appliances all over the data center, right? We have different management tools, like when you talk about Power Management Center, we have Cisco Device Orchestrator, so Cisco Defense Orchestrator. So we use same kind of, we use same management tool for firewalls in cloud as well.
Same look and feel to the tools and the same kind of...
Not only same look and feel, you can use same device, and you can apply same policies to your firewalls running in cloud.
Okay.
That's pretty big, and we integrate with a lot of other security products like Umbrella, Stealth Watch, those kind of things, right?
Ah, so this is the Cisco threat-centric approach to security.
Yeah, that's right.
So what kind of integrations and use cases can you tell us about that might be interested then when you're working across this multi-cloud environment?
Yeah, so if you look at this from the point of compliance, I have customers moving to cloud all the time, and they require firewall for meeting compliance. At the same time, they require next generation IPS, which is really required by their InfoSec teams. And they also require feature like URL filtering, AMP for those known malware files, and then you can integrate it with with AMP Cloud so that you can provide some kind of sandboxing solution as well.
All right, so with AMP Cloud, Threat Grid, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. All that is supported in public cloud as well. And now we have recently started working on something which will take your security group tags from your campus into the cloud. So there is a tool known as Cloud Policy Connector.
Okay.
It is part of DNA, and by using that particular platform, you can use APIs to learn your group mappings, and you can map your SGTs with your device's names in the cloud, and you can create policies.
So now we're talking about context. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can get more rich security information when you're able to share context.
Yeah, right.
How does that integrate with what we see between the different tools there? How does context come into play to giving a more effective security posture?
Yeah, so just to give you an example, in our campus or in our data center, we used to create rules like marketing can talk to sales, sales can talk to marketing, and those kind of tools based on the security.
Sales can never talk to marketing, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, so you can take those rules in cloud as well, and you can consume it anywhere. You can create your VMs, and you can give it a name, like say it is a finance VM, and then you can deploy another workload, and you can tag it as sales VM, and then you can create policy based on SGTs rather than using IP address. Because in cloud, IP address, customers might change their workloads anytime, right? So it's really flexible tool that you can.
So there's context information. Do you also share something like event information? Can you give us an example of sharing event information, how that might lead to more comprehensive security policy and posture and efficacy?
Yeah, that's right. So when you're managing your device, your on-premise device as well as your cloud device using a single management tool, you have all the events coming to the same management tool, right? So you have full visibility of what is happening.
What kind of events would you see? Say you're sitting in the SOC. What kind of thing would happen? How can you talk us through how that whole integration end-to-end picture might be useful?
Okay, so let's say you have your device there, firewall, and you have enabled features like AMP, URL filtering, and you have...
So AMP is our advanced malware protection.
Yeah, and URL filtering and your next generation IPS. So you will get all your events in FMC, and then you can take actions. Like there is a remediation module available that can move your workloads if you are in on-prem data center.
So what happens? Something bad happens, an event comes through the firewall. Maybe it's a 0 day.
Yeah.
What happens then?
So
do we let that through? How does it play? How do we look retrospectively?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff?
we actually look at the file, send that hash value to our AMP cloud, get the verdict. If it is unknown, we do a lot of things in the background. We can have a sandboxing solution as well. So those kind of things will integrate and contribute to more secured environment in public.
And we can share that event information on-prem or in the cloud using the same software, all the same stuff.
Yeah, right. That's
okay,
right.
so policy, context, events. What else is there? How else do they integrate for useful purposes?
Yeah, so let me spend a little bit time on understanding what our HA solution is, because that's what our customers are looking at. Yeah, so HA is really important. So in terms of ASI, HA in Azure, we have a dedicated HA agent that is pre-deployed on ASI.
Oh, that makes it easier.
Yeah, that makes it easier. And the important task of that HA agent is to talk to their UDR. UDR is a route table. So in the event of failure, what happens is we send a REST API call in a secured way. So we create an app key and app ID and integrate our solution with their native load balancer, native route table, I would say, and then we switch routes. So if my device is pointing to first ASA is down, I'll just make a REST API call, change my route in the route table, switch it to another device. So that is one of the solutions. The other one is, if you are in public cloud, you're paying for your workload already. Why would you keep one of your workload as as a device which will never pass traffic. So I talk to a lot of customers, and they are looking at some kind of solution where they have active traffic forwarding. So we went one step ahead and created a design, and we call it as load balancer sandwich design, where we integrate with external load balancer, internal load balancer, and we add our firewalls in the middle of those load balancers. So what that give us is it gives us ability to scale. So if today I can start with N+1 firewall, tomorrow if my network in public cloud grows, I can
chain them together and get more capacity, throughput, balance.
And then you can use all the features and same policy on all the devices as
all the things you kind of know and love from.
Yeah.
So as you were talking there, maybe to start thinking about licensing and how all that fits together. What considerations do you have with licensing in this kind of model?
Yeah, licensing is pretty important to understand when you're moving your security devices in cloud. We do follow same kind of smart licensing model for public cloud as well, but there is a little bit difference. When you talk about Amazon Web Services, we have BYOL, where customers will purchase licenses directly.
Bring your own license, and you can move that to the cloud.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
And another important thing is we have hourly or annual licenses as well. So if our customers will opt for annual or hourly license, they're billed directly from Amazon. On Azure, we have BYOL only at the moment, but yeah, that's right. We have same kind of model across the board. So if you have your virtual appliance in your data center, you can use same license in public cloud as well.
So if you go towards a cloud migration, your investments aren't wasted. You can balance those licenses across the whole thing.
Yeah, and good part is we don't have any separate SKU for public cloud. If you have procured that license for your virtual appliance in your data center,
that's quite
you
good.
can just deactivate if you don't require the firewall anymore in your data center. You can use same license in cloud.
Well, how about as you grow, can you upgrade the licenses? How does that all work?
Yeah, so that's another thing that we are looking at. So today we have 1 gig appliance, and we are planning to bring bigger appliances as well. Then we will think about how exactly we'll upgrade licenses. But yeah, it's pretty early stage to say that when exactly it's going to happen. But yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's something we're talking about for the future.
Yeah, right.
Okay, very good. So the cloud's a different environment to the private data center, isn't it? Are we geared up to looking at any different kinds of threats? How are we investigating those, and what can our customers expect?
Yeah, so our expectation by customers are they need same kind of appliance in the cloud as well, so which can do everything. But we are pretty limited in terms of, everybody is pretty limited in terms of high availability, those kind of things, because there is no layer 2. But when you talk about threats, what I've seen from my personal experience is whenever you deploy your EC2 instance or your workload in Azure, the moment you add your public IP address to it, you will see a lot of scans coming from internet, because it is publicly available and less of secured architecture.
You see the same kind of things, but a lot more of them.
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Anything different types of threats the customers should be aware of? We've got those covered too.
Yeah, I've talked about it pretty briefly, but definitely day zero attacks are something which customers might see there. That is something where we can help.
You see more of those types of things when you're more exposed into the public cloud.
Yeah, and then we have Stealth Watch for cloud.
Well, that's where the integrations come.
Yeah. And we have recently worked on virtual tap feature of tap, so we can deploy our firewalls in passive mode as well. So if our customers are already using,
tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. So let's say you have your CSR, you have your workloads in AWS environment, and you have your CSR at the edge doing those kind of DM VPN or those kind of VPN connectivity down to your data center, and you don't want to disrupt your network. I can go there, provision my firewall in passive mode, and on CSR I will just enable ER span. That will bring copy of that traffic back to my firewall, so you will have complete visibility. And then if you want to have that kind of visibility for your InfoSec policy, you can have that as well.
All right, so we're talking about Cisco security controls working better with other Cisco security controls, but then also working with the other stuff that our customers may have in their data center.
That's right.
Okay, so what else can you tell us about public cloud and when you clearly go around to conferences like this one, meeting with lots of customers, what kind of challenges are they facing? Is it different in different places around the world? Yeah. What are you seeing when you're out there in the field?
Yeah, I can see a lot of customers moving to cloud, and they have same kind of challenges, right?
What are the main things they're thinking?
Main things would be security is the big thing. How to provide security against day zero. How to provide security against malware, known issues.
That's what's on their minds.
Yeah. URL filtering is again becoming really important, and then NGIPS, right? That is really important.
Okay, they're the main things on their mind.
Yeah.
And then when they're starting to think about planning for a migration to cloud from a security perspective, what kind of steps are they going through?
Oh, so it's pretty easy. You just have to bring up your firewall in public cloud. You can use the same kind of policy that you have on-premise. You just manage and apply that policy to your firewall in cloud as well.
Oh, that does sound easy when you say it like that.
Right.
So what can you tell us about cloud adoption and the balance of workloads between on-prem and public, and how are we dealing with that as a security organization?
Yeah, so when I came here last time, I was here last time as well at Cisco Live, I was speaking to a lot of SCs and account managers. We saw that adoption for public cloud was pretty less in Australia last year. But like yesterday, I met a lot of folks here, and I see that they have a lot of customers moving to cloud. Reason is flexibility that you have in public cloud. First one is the high availability. Okay, you have multiple regions there in cloud availability zones. You can provide your application from anywhere in the data center. Maybe you might have one resource deployed in Melbourne, one resource may be deployed in Europe. So you can still have their load balancer and forward traffic pretty flexible. Second thing is scalability. So you have features like auto scale set, using which, as and when required, you can instantiate new servers. So that is again a big thing for them, and cost is another one. So when I started working on public cloud a few years ago, they had model of hourly billing. Then they came down to per minute billing. Now they're down to per second billing as well, which is really huge. Imagine you are in a business of some kind of e-commerce business. You have your website hosted somewhere, and then during the holiday season, you expect a lot of people coming to your site, your website. So you can enable auto scale set, and then you can scale your servers. So during the peak hours, you will have a lot of servers, and then you can shrink it down when not required.
And we want to scale our security to be able to ebb and flow with the demands of the business.
Right.
And that's something we can do. All right, well, I'm also thinking about when you move to the cloud, you're suddenly in a much more global environment.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that comes with its own challenges, I would imagine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so anything you can tell us about that?
Yeah, so just to answer that question, the biggest challenge is security again. So that's how exactly you're going to deal with it.
And one of the things I was used to be aware of was the data center team always wanted to do something, and the security team always wanted to say no, we need to put the security on. What have we done to help that kind of problem where we're doing security at the same time as the provisioning? Because cloud's all about speed and doing things really fast. How are we meeting the challenge of agility with security? Are we orchestrating better? How are we solving that problem?
Yeah, so bringing up new firewall in cloud is pretty quick. You can provision new firewall, and since you're managing your device with same management tool, you can apply same policy. Imagine you have deployed you are starting with 2 firewalls, and then suddenly there is spike. You can provision another one, apply same policy, because you have same policies already defined for other 2 firewalls as well. That will give you scale. But
we can do that at the same time as we're provisioning the workload. Then we've got the security right there when we need it.
That's right.
Because we're in the Wild West now, and you've got all these big global challenges. We need to be able to respond faster, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, I've just got a couple of minutes left here, mate. So what can you tell us about the future? What are you thinking about the things we're going to solve for our customers in the future?
Yeah, in future, I think everybody is not moving their workloads. They're taking advantage of features like containers. Right.
Containers.
That's another area where they need security. So that is something we can work on. We are working with a lot of customers, understanding their problems, what exactly they're facing in cloud. So important thing is when they move their workloads, right, in the cloud. It's not the same environment. So we need to educate them how exactly it's different, and then how exactly we provide security there.
So you've been tuning against that?
Yeah. So when I talk to customers, first priority is to tell them that your public cloud is not same as private cloud. You have a lot of challenges there, right? So how Cisco can help is really important. We can do whatever they need, but point is we need to provide them same kind of security that they are already using. So they don't have to reinvest in tools.
Training and processes and all the people, all the other aspects of security which are really important.
Yeah.
That's a good spot to finish off. I see we've come to the end of our time now. It's been great talking to you, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoy
here.
your rest of the time in Australia, and thank everybody who's watching this remotely.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
It's all the rage these days. Companies touting machine learning this or machine learning that. So how does Cisco use it? For more effective security. Take a deeper dive into machine learning at cisco.com/go/stealthwatch. Cybersecurity threats seem to come from everywhere today. They know that layers of technology create blind spots that cover their tracks. That's why we created Cisco Threat Response. Fast detection, simple investigation, confident response.
Okay, network is all set up. Securing what connects to it is your problem.
Done.
What? How?
Cisco connects everything. Of course they have endpoint security.
That's when Barry realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Why are you still up there?
What about endpoints?
So many overfunded startups, I don't know any of them.
Cisco isn't a startup.
Whoa.
That's when Deborah realized Cisco AMP secures endpoints.
Deborah.
Why is nothing integrated?
Hey, Cisco already protects our networks. They do endpoint security too.
All endpoints like this?
Yep.
That?
Yep.
All of this?
That's when Adam realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. This is a firewall, but it does so much more than just access control and filtering. It's a Cisco next generation firewall that prevents breaches automatically so your business never goes down. Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit, and Cisco firewall customers were automatically protected. We have Talos, the largest independent threat research team on the planet, who analyze millions of threats daily and create security protections against the next big attack. Worried that your firewall isn't showing you the full picture? The Cisco firewall gives you the deepest and broadest visibility across your network. It continuously monitors for suspicious activity to detect and stop threats fast. The Cisco firewall automates networking and security operations. It prioritizes alerts, correlates threat information, and integrates with the rest of your security tools, saving time and headaches. Don't let your firewall work you. Make it work for you. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. Say hello to Cisco SD-WAN. We've integrated an enterprise firewall, intrusion prevention system, and URL filtering, and protected by Cisco Talos. Learn more at cisco.com/go/SD-WAN-security. Whether you're establishing trust for a user and their devices or reducing your attack surface, Cisco Trusted Access is a practical, zero-trust approach to security. Take your first step with Cisco's multi-factor authentication, and then continue your journey to rebuild trust.
This is our best quarter to date, and I don't want a security issue to mess up the call team. We all know what happened to Qualcomm. They didn't discover that.
Any problems?
Possibly.
Earnings reports within the hour.
They're no longer existent.
Solve this.
I need absolute guarantee.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So we've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity, and incident response. That nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this. You've got to come through on security.
There are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price. The war. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home.
I don't think so.
Isolating the host.
Blocking the domain.
And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.
You know what CISOs really need?
More alerts?
No.
More security tools?
Hashtag double no.
Wait, I got it. Another annual security report?
Jeez, I think I just threw up a little. Those reports are always chock full of stats providing zero insight. No, what CISOs really need is a good night's sleep. One without the shivers, sweats, and screaming nightmares caused by a constant barrage of security incidents. The blocking, investigating, remediating, asking Mario and HR to stop clicking on phishing links yet again. It is like mowing your lawn with tweezers.
How do we know this? We're not psychic.
Negative, Ghost Rider. We simply asked. You see, we surveyed thousands of CISOs worldwide, and they told us they're drowning in complexity, facing increased cost, and sweating the breaches. Some are doing okay, like those taking breach readiness seriously enough to put Mario in regular cybersecurity training. It turns out the best prepared CISOs are those collaborating with their networking colleagues. They're making sure security is foundational and not an IT afterthought.
So how do you join this group of CISOs? The ones sleeping better at night.
First step, read what CISOs have to say. Get an incisive look inside the mind of people like you. Pick up tips and tricks to doing security better. No need to wade through hundreds of pages on annual security blabber. Besides, 47.625% of those statistics are generally made up anyway. This is a concise, relevant, data-driven report about security on the internet by the company that built the internet. Forget about the unrivaled breadth, depth, and scope. Our decades of cybersecurity expertise? Take it from me. This study is from the best threat intelligence organization on the planet. It is the stuff to make any CISO sleep better. Read the full Cisco 2019 CISO Benchmark Study at cisco.com/go/security reports.
Good morning and welcome everybody. I'm Shajit Musa. I lead delivery and support for Customer Experience Center for Cisco here in the APJC region. And I'm happy to welcome Chris Anthony, who is here with me. Chris leads the ANZ region for security delivery and support for the Customer Experience Center. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Shajit.
So today we're going to talk to you about automation and security management. I mean, in the changing threat landscape of today, how does Cisco help you meet your security needs? And we're just going to look at a few examples, and Chris is going to help us walk through that. Right, Chris?
Yep, that's right.
All right. So let's let's look at what the scenario is, right? So when we talk to our customers, a lot of them believe that, actually 95% of them believe that the threat landscape is just going to continue increasing. Another interesting statistic is that more than 50% of threats are not even investigated. Can you imagine that? 50% not even investigated. And another statistics we heard yesterday was the fact that about 70% of customers' budgets are spent on managing the network, and less than 30% in transforming and looking at how they can evolve their businesses. So that's a huge, huge gap, right? So can you walk us through, in this scenario, and especially when we talk about a changing threat landscape, we looked at the standard security operations of the perimeter security and how that has evolved. Everybody has a BYOD policy, people have multiple devices, want to be connected from anywhere and everywhere. How is Cisco helping our customers deal with this changing landscape?
That's a perfect question, Sajid. Thank you very much for the question. And who better can do than Cisco? Look at the architecture we have. And we are placed very much to get our devices working together to secure a network. And look at the portfolio we have. And with all this portfolio that we have a perfect glue that sticks together, that is the Talos intelligence. And with Talos operation, we apply the automation to all these devices so that we can secure your network. I'll give you an example. I know you love traveling.
Yep.
And I know you love your coffee.
I do.
All right. So just imagine you're coming out of Starbucks and you're sipping your coffee away and you're browsing the net.
Okay.
And as you're browsing the net, guess what? We have Cisco umbrella protecting you from the bad guys. Cisco umbrella, we have over 1 billion DNS record that we have classified, and we want you to be safe, even sitting at Starbucks. Now, from Starbucks, you walk into your campus, and there you have your StealthWatch deployment. StealthWatch works as a sensor. So it classifies any endpoint that are compromised. And it sends the information to the ICE deployment. The ICE quickly understands that there is some malicious activity happening in the network, and it sends an information to the group, and it tags the information. Then ICE sends an information back to WSA. And guess what? The WSA now automatically configures the policy and changes the policy so that you are outside the network and the network is protected from a malicious user.
So you're effectively quarantining.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's securing network for you.
Okay. So I think you should stop stalking me at this point and tell me what are we doing for our customers? Give me an example of how we are helping our customers in the real world example, and not me sipping coffee, deal with this.
So that's a perfect segue, right? So what we have here is a customer, a large European customer. They're the commercial bank. Bank are very nitpicky on latency and the response time. So we had two issues that we had to deal with this deployment. One was, how can you migrate our on-prem solution to a cloud solution? We have about 300,000 users for this bank, and we have to migrate them into a cloud solution. And this organization did not have any clue about cloud solution. The second requirement was, how do we repurpose our existing workforce into a cloud-enabled workforce? So we had to do training. And we send our best of breed to this customer in Europe. And guess what? Within 4 weeks of a deployment, they migrated the entire 300,000 user base into a cloud solution. And we trained them on how to manage and monitor the cloud environment. So I'll give a classic example of how we did it. So we enabled what we call as a cognitive bot. So what is cognitive bot? Cognitive bot is like a real person. It sits at the edge of your network, and it monitors all your alerts. It parses, it creates a case, assigns to itself, then updates the case notes, does the troubleshooting, notifies the customer if the case has to be resolved. If the case cannot be resolved by this cognitive bot, it opens a case for the TAC engineer.
Wow.
And the TAC engineer can deep dive and provide root cause analysis to the customer. And guess what? All this happens under 6 minutes for 80% of your alerts. Like we mentioned, 10,000 threats a day. We are covering most of it here in the cloud situation.
So Chris, what you're telling me is our customers, our enterprise customers, whose core business is retail, lending, making loans, energy creation, etc., they don't need to be worried about how they need to protect their network. Cisco has a solution that inherently has all of the automation, all of the machine learning and intelligence built in that helps them do this.
Absolutely.
So what about, tell me a little bit more about this, right? So if everything is automated, who does the coordination? How does it work? Who works with Cisco? How do they ensure that this incident that they're dealing with is managed end to end?
So this is the scary part of the automation, right? Everybody is worried about who's going to do the work. If automation takes over everything, who's going to do the work, right? Now, what automation does in this instant is it fast-tracks the resolution time. Threats cannot wait forever. It fast-tracks the solution for the customer. That's the key. We want to give the time back to you, customers, right? So a perfect example how we provide a high-level service for high-value customers like yourself is if you have signed up for a solution support contract that enables premium and enhanced customers, what we do is we have a designated support manager that comes bundled with that offer. So we enable this designated support manager to do things faster. In the traditional world, in the traditional setup, it's much later. The latency was there to provide the support. But in this case, it's all under 6 minutes. Okay? A perfect example will be a case that comes into the alert. For example, I'll use your case, right? When you come into the perimeter, an alert comes into the system, and the bot recognizes that something is happening here. It gets the intelligence from the log that we collect from the device, and it creates an automation activity happening while a case is created and sent to a designated support manager. And the designated support manager now is fast-tracked into what he has to do. So we give him clear instructions through the cognitive bot on what are the things he has to do. So he doesn't have to go and ask for logs and start all over again in the traditional system. Here you have log ready, automated, and DSM can swing into action from the get-go.
Awesome. So Chris, what you're telling me is if I am a CISO or a network security manager for an enterprise customer, then I can rest assured that the cloud-based solutions from Cisco, along with our on-prem elements, supported by our world-class support services in the premium category like the DSM, allows me to sleep at night very well because a threat is identified, it's categorized, it's alerted, it's investigated and resolved, all in under 6 minutes?
Absolutely, but I know you're going to talk more about the business critical services. And what we actually do is if you're a CISO or a CIO or a network security manager, what keeps you awake at night? Probably you're worried about the multi-vendor deployment that's really taking up a lot of your time. Your 70% of the time is factored in here. Or you're worried about the skill levels of your resources. You want some automation help, you want some solution support help, you want some migration help, you want every other wraparound help around the services. We are here to help. Who better can do this job than Cisco?
Excellent. So I'll get back to the point that you made, right, on business critical services. We heard a lot about this yesterday. Dave Maladi, our VP for CX Center, APJC, talked about it at length at the Innovation Center. But I just want to circle back to that point again, because when we look at what you just described here, the automation required, the assistance that our customers need as they go into this new threat landscape where things are not as simple, the number of threats are increasing day by day, they need vendors like Cisco to step up to the plate and support them in their journey because they cannot do this alone, right?
Absolutely.
So this is where business critical, like we talked about earlier, comes into picture. So let's take a look at what it does from a key capability standpoint, right? So customers are at different places in their journey. Some are at the foundation level. They're just getting their profile set up. They're just allowing, understanding the threats and then configuring their systems to ensure that they're protected at the basic level. There's the next who are in the optimization phase. They've got on the truck a little earlier. Their configurations plan. The third is actually trying to take off. Then the transformation phase. So they really want their business to take off. The security, rather than being a concern, should be an enabler. So their digitization journey, making it a secure digitization journey is what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
So this is where business critical helps. So at the foundation layer, we have a few, when I say a few, there's a lot of services available, but we'll touch upon a few.
Yeah.
There's an acceleration component to it, which is for the customers who are in that optimization phase. And then there's the transformation phase, right, where customers who really want to kick it to the next level, transform their business, can avail of the service to go there. So let's talk about one or two items in the foundation element, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
So if you are a network support manager, security, one thing, like you said, what keeps you awake is understanding what's in a network. What's green, what's yellow, what's, and red, right? Where are the threats? How much is mitigated? How much is unmitigated? What are the gaps? All of these are things of concern to you. How does the platform insights capability within the foundation help? Basically, it provides you a dashboard, like a welcome, good morning dashboard, that allows you to keep track of conformance, gives you a view of anomaly detection, and not only that, where are you in the remediation piece of it, right? This is where the 70% of budget spent on operating the network can be greatly reduced by saying, hey, listen, if I can get this view on a daily basis, then I can work with my network team to ensure that the threats are identified, the remediation is on track, and it is prioritized to ensure that my most critical elements are covered during this phase. Sounds like
this is exciting time, right? I want to reduce the 70% of the customer time spent on doing the day job, like, run the business to somewhere between, like, whatever it is, 50, whatever.
Transform and accelerate the business. I mean,
Absolutely.
the customers don't want to be spending 70% of their IT budget on just running the business. That is where we should come in with services like these that help them to the next level. Another element that comes into play is what we call the network device security assessment. Now, each of our large customers, they have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of devices in the network. Earlier we talked about a few security components.
Yes.
The next-gen firewall, IPS, WSA, ESA. But these are not just the elements that contribute to securing a network. We have the routers, we have the switches, we have the wireless access points, we have the data center. All of these combined together form the security architecture. Now, as a security manager, how do you ensure that the policy, your architecture and plan that you've put together to secure a network is actually doing its job? Do you even know how much of it is deployed? Do you know where the gaps are? Do you know how many devices where that have a gap? You don't. So this is where network device security assessment as a service helps protect your network. What it does is it allows you to have a holistic view of your network, look at the configuration, match it against your security architecture elements, and ensure that you have a full visibility into the gaps that exist. Now, how does this help? By ensuring that you're aware of the gaps, you can remediate them.
Yes.
Once you remediate the gaps, then you have a clear view on where your threats are and where you need to focus on. So, in short, business critical services, even at the foundation level, is a great entry point for customers whose business is not necessarily technology. Our enterprise customers who are looking for vendors like Cisco to come in and help them, a great service that they should be on to help them secure that network and help them in that secure digitization journey. So with this, I think we've given a good view. Thank you, Chris, for giving that holistic view about the overall security architecture, the different elements that come into the way that Cisco helps protect our customers, and also some of those nice examples. And I think you should stop stalking me, and next time we talk, you should give more examples about our customers rather than Shah just sitting and sipping coffee at Starbucks and getting malicious content on his laptop, right? So with that, thank you, Chris, for joining me here today to talk to our customers and our audience here about this, and appreciate the time. Thank you, and have a good day.
Encrypted traffic on your network. A good thing? Bad thing? Both? As encrypted traffic continues to increase, giving us greater privacy and security, it has also become a remarkably efficient way to spread undetected malware. So what used to be extra safe has now become an extra opportunity for cybercriminals, and the damage can be significant. Many organizations don't have a solution to detect malicious content in encrypted traffic without decryption. Still, network and security teams must work together to gain visibility into encrypted traffic across the enterprise. Cisco Digital Network Architecture turns your network into an end-to-end sensor and enforcer, detecting and containing sophisticated security threats. Cisco StealthWatch with cognitive analytics and Cisco's next-generation switches and routers give your network and security teams encrypted traffic analytics, a solution to identify hidden malware without decryption. Protect your business and ensure peace of mind by identifying vulnerabilities and malicious content in encrypted traffic on your network, and get your network and security teams working together with one powerful vision. Encrypted traffic analytics, part of the new era in networking. The network intuitive.
From the small business to the large enterprise, no business is immune to today's cybersecurity threats. Advanced and persistent attacks put security concerns front and center when it comes to business success. Cisco Firepower NGFWs are the industry's first threat-focused next-generation firewalls. They provide a flexible security solution that scales to the needs of your organization, no matter what the size. Immediately strengthen your security portfolio with our leading breach detection, fast time to discovery, and security automation. Whether your team is a lean IT department or a robust security operation, Firepower NGFW offers you adaptable hardware and software solutions to accommodate your needs. For the small business, our ASA 5500X series next-gen firewalls provide a cost-effective solution. Out of the box, these NGFWs offer strong firewall capabilities and threat inspection rates, ideal for a single or remote branch office deployment. For mid-sized businesses, the Cisco Firepower 2100 series offers stronger security and more visibility. Enhanced performance delivers firewall throughput and threat inspection rates up to 8.5 gigabytes. If you are a service provider or data center, your security needs are greater. You need more throughput and processing capabilities. The powerful Cisco Firepower 4100 series and the Cisco Firepower 9300 offer robust throughput speeds up to 90 gigabytes to facilitate the most demanding scenarios. As your business grows and security demands increase, the Cisco NGFW will scale with your needs. Whether you need basic security or deep contextual awareness, our customizable licensing options provide you with integrated industry-leading software, such as next-gen intrusion prevention, advanced malware protection, and URL filtering. Managing Cisco Firepower NGFWs is made easy with various tools to suit your operating style. An on-box manager can assist in single deployments, while a centralized manager provides granular tools to manage multiple NGFWs throughout your entire organization. No matter what size your business, Cisco offers leading NGFW technology to protect your data and your customers. See the various options available at firepowerngfw.com or learn more at cisco.com/go/NGFW. As businesses embrace digitalization, networks are transforming to include the branch, data center, IoT, and the cloud. This complexity, along with highly motivated cyber attackers, make visibility into the network essential to keeping your infrastructure and data secure. Threats can go undetected on your network for months at a time, mapping your environment until they are ready to steal your valuable assets. But how do you defend against threats you can't see? It's time to bring these hidden threats to light with Cisco StealthWatch Visibility Assessment. This 2-week assessment monitors your network traffic to identify vulnerabilities and security threats. At the end of the assessment, you will receive a detailed report containing actionable insights, highlighting blind spots and problem areas on your network. What do organizations find? A technology company discovered that half of its user workstations were infiltrated by custom-made malware designed just for their network. The malware had been stealing information for an unknown length of time. In another case, a healthcare company found that so-called internal users were logging in from Asia to exfiltrate large data files. This was an immediate red flag, as their user base was located solely in the southwestern US. How do you defend against such sophisticated attacks? With Cisco StealthWatch, you stay one step ahead with in-depth visibility to uncover suspicious network behaviors. StealthWatch continuously monitors network traffic, users, and devices to improve threat detection and incident response. Don't let blind spots threaten your security. Turn the lights on inside your network with Cisco StealthWatch Visibility Assessment. For a free assessment, visit cisco.com/go/StealthWatch free assessment.
How can mobility transform your business? People sharing, employees collaborating, trailblazers innovating. To do that, you need to secure your users everywhere. Why? Phishing scams, compromised credentials, mistyped URLs, one wrong click, and you're exposed. iOS is the most secure mobile platform out there, but users are your weakest link. You just can't take that risk. Unless you're protected. Unless Cisco solved it. Meet Cisco Security Connector for iOS, bringing you the deepest visibility and unmatched control. Protecting users everywhere. From the internet, other people, even themselves. Finally, your employees are securely sharing, collaborating, and innovating. Now you can transform your business securely. Cisco Security Connector, accelerating mobile transformation.
Hi everyone, Rodney Heron here, security guy for Cisco Australia New Zealand. Thank you for joining us again for another Cybersecurity Insights video we're broadcasting out to the attendees for Cisco Live this week. I'm joined by a colleague of mine, Ben. Can you introduce yourself and what do you do?
So I'm Benny Ketelslegers. I'm based here in ABAC as part of Talos, which is the threat intelligence unit of Cisco.
For those of us that didn't join the session yesterday, can you explain a bit more about what Talos is and what does it mean? What also does the team do there at Talos?
Yeah, so we do security research and threat intelligence. So basically we're looking at our telemetry, we're looking for new malware campaigns and attacks happening on the internet.
So you mentioned threat intelligence. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and what that actually means, and what does that provide for organizations?
Yeah. So it's not only malware, so any kind of malicious activity. So we make sure that we analyze that in depth, that we write signatures. So this can be antivirus on the endpoint, network signatures, detection signatures for the gateways, as well as block lists for like any kind of Cisco product that customers might own.
So how does that help our customers? Or actually, I'll ask it another way. Can they buy it?
It's not separate. It's really baked into products. So if you own any Cisco security product, you're getting the benefit of Talos Intelligence.
So if customers make investments in security, tools and solutions, they get that as part of what the investment they make. That's fantastic value. So you've talked a bit about threat. Let's break down one threat or an area. So cyber extortion. We've seen that a lot in the news lately. Can you talk a little bit more about what that is and what's happening out there in the industry?
So cyber extortion is just one variant of phishing or online scams, and it's not new. So the oldest one is probably the Nigerian prince scam with the inheritance.
I've had a few of those emails.
Yeah, it's still going on, and that's actually funny to see. So yeah, like they're trying to convince to like kind of a get rich quick scheme, where if you help them by like donating a small amount, you might get a part of the inheritance. So there's like a lot of social engineering involved. This might include like trying to pose as a company, saying you need to reset your password or you lose access. So these kind of online phishing and scams have been happening for quite a bit of while, but they've been evolving lately, and we've been observing that as well.
So it sounds quite scary. So for me individually, or even my own family as a consumer, should I be scared about this, or?
So they're getting really innovative and really good at convincing people to pay money. So the example that we want to bring, what we blogged about like last September, was the sextortion scam. So it's kind of blackmailing. And we've seen that before, where they say, okay, we have some embarrassing information about you. If you don't pay us, we'll like release that to your friends, to the world. But to convince them that they actually have this information, although they don't, they're kind of including personal information. So in this case, actually your passwords. So everybody uses websites like free online services, might be a photo sharing website. So of course you create an account and you use a password. And people tend to be a little bit lazy, so they reuse the same password for all of these sites, which might be also the password on your computer. And a lot of these websites have been breached in the past, so these databases of passwords are out there on the internet. So these scammers are now using your email address and your password and including that into the message, convincing you, see, we know your passwords. So this is proof that we got access to your computer and your webcam. So we got this confidential information, embarrassing information, and this actually helps in their social engineering attempts. So we see that they were really successful in this campaign.
That sounds actually quite scary, almost embarrassing. Last thing I need is to give my wife another example or another reason to yell at me. So what should companies be doing about this, or should they be worried about this? Because it sounds like you're talking about just normal people, home users, but they also work inside companies. So should companies be worried about this?
Yes, because if you can convince users to actually do something, it's not just pay money by Bitcoin. Next time it might be click on this link if you want to make this problem go away. We mentioned before, we might have all this technology, but like we can't patch the user. So user education is really important to make users aware not to fall in these kind of social engineering tactics.
So when you say can't patch users, so we can't use tasers on them?
No.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. So through all of the investigation, what has Talos learned about the people that are running these type of scams? Do we have to be worried about them even pivoting out of what they're doing and doing something else? What are you seeing?
So we actually analyzed the Bitcoin wallets associated. So in this case, to kind of make it difficult to trace the financial transactions, they were using cryptocurrency, in this case Bitcoin, to actually get money from the consumers. So by tracing these Bitcoin wallets, we saw an overlap with different campaigns. So they were using very similar emails, but then including phone numbers of users to try to convince that they actually had access to their data. But we saw other ones, let me think, there was one where they were trying to pose as a charity, like sick children, so to get money as well. Posing as legitimate companies as well. So we saw that they were really diversifying the topics and kind of the social engineering tactics towards users. And this is going to keep increasing, and they're getting more inventive and proficient at doing this.
So this is a little question about notice, because I was thinking about, you're talking of all these different sites, all these different credentials. You've talked about users that using same passwords, which are obviously going to be tied to emails and stuff like that. Are there any tools or things or places people could go to search on whether or not their credentials, say their email, whether it be their work one or personal ones, if they've got a lot, is there any place they can actually go to find if those accounts or services have been compromised?
There's actually, I don't know the URL by heart, but there's actually an Australian researcher that started collecting these databases and centralizing that. So actually the users can go there and look up if their email address was contained in any of those breaches. But be careful to not go to the wrong website and not to enter your password, because that might be the perfect angle for another phishing campaign.
The cycle continues.
Cycle continues.
So all those breaches that we've seen over the years, the LinkedIn, some of the ones around Facebook, Tumblr, etc. So that sort of information to be shown up. So whether or not those things have been compromised and,
Yes.
and sort of promoting people to change their passwords, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I can also strongly advise to use a free tool called Password Manager. So there's different ones out there where you can use a different password for each side, but if it's a hard time for you to memorize those, you can store that into that password manager and it will be encrypted. So you just need to remember the master password of that tool.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about personal users, we've talked about users with their emails and their credentials, and we've talked a little bit about organisations in terms of what they should be worried about. Should organisations be worried because users are carrying a lot of their information? Their phone, smartphone becomes almost like the place where everything is stored, all these different apps. So, and because a lot of users are trying to bring those into their organisations, is that something that organisations have to be really concerned about? Yes, the sextortion campaigns might target individuals, but do organisations need to care about it because the education of that user, the devices they might bring in, could compromise that organisation? Is that something they need to be worried about?
Yeah, exactly. There's all kind of cases where users might not have a good VPN solution, so they might not be able to access their emails remotely. So they start forwarding those emails to their private accounts. So they're basically copying all the corporate accounts in there, and I see this happen a lot as well. So that's a potential risk as well. As well as dual authentication, so actually only having username and password authentication on something like a corporate email. And like I said, they reuse the same password. They have a tendency to do that. And actually having like a dual authentication solution like Duo, like Cisco provides, that actually can help enterprises secure access to the corporate emails.
Interesting you mentioned Duo. I do believe that as part of some of the trials that Duo being an acquisition that we'd made just recently, that they offer a free phishing assessment. So I think that's probably something that a lot of those small, medium business and other organisations should potentially look at? Do you think that's something that would be a good use of their time and investment to try and test out some of their users? Maybe some particular targeted ones that might hold the keys to the castle, so to speak?
Yeah, like it's a pretty recent acquisition, and I don't know that many details, but we did mention before that they have kind of a phishing test for users as well. So there are a lot of solutions available for corporations to help them.
Okay, so we talk about all the threats. We've talked about a lot of the potential bad things that can happen, and we talked about phishing as an education process. What are a couple things that either organisations or users could do as an education or trying to, what's the word I'm looking for, increase their security awareness to protect themselves and their organisation from being compromised?
Well, be a little bit critical of the emails that you get. Is it something that you were expecting? You might even contact the person that's pretending to be sending you this email and just verify the sender as well.
So should I send an email to that Nigerian prince to verify if he's saying the amount of money he's going to give me is actually true? Should I do that?
That might be a very long distance call.
Oh, okay. I think it's cheaper to call overseas nowadays, so yeah. Maybe I'll do like that. So, one of the last things we'll probably want to cover is obviously the organisation. So, chief information security officers, should they be worried about this? First, that's the first question. And second of all, what are the types of tools they can bring into their organisation or investments they can make to help protect themselves against these type of threats, or the type of threats that can actually pivot from these type of events happening?
Well, I think it's about defense in depth, and not only about the technology. Like we mentioned, user education, so spend resources and time educating, doing phishing tests, and then we have a lot of solutions, DNS umbrella, blocking malicious domain, phishing websites. Can be on the network layer as well, endpoint solutions. So, don't try to focus just in one area. Try to diversify as much as possible.
So then how would we protect the users that are outside the corporate organisation? Can we actually protect them in some way when they leave the corporate organisation? So they've taken this personal device, they're working from home, they're connecting remotely, they might go to a cafe or 7-Eleven or a Starbucks or something like that, connect to the public Wi-Fi. How do we protect them there, because they're outside of that corporate domain?
Yeah, but even like our VPN client has an integration with DNS umbrella, so even being outside of the network, there's solutions to help them protect. And again, I mentioned this many times, huge education I think is key.
Okay, so the investments that companies could potentially make in protecting their users against this can also protect them when they're not inside their four walls, when they're sort of working from business. So
exactly. So
that'll mean employee and productivity increase because they're probably less scared about clicking on the wrong thing.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So lastly, because you're quite new to the Talos team, can you tell us a little bit more about what you've found in the early days with the team and the type of things that they're also seeing, or what you're seeing is different based on your experience in cybersecurity?
We had quite a bit of big news stories, so the Talos blog is a really good resource to check out the latest research that we have. VPN filter was a big story. Olympic Destroyer, the malware that was associated with the Winter Olympics. So it's pretty interesting team to work for and to find these kind of like major attacks happening and trying to see how we can protect our customers against these kind of attacks.
So VPN filter was quite interesting. Is that another one where I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that seemed to be attacking again consumer devices to try and compromise people inside their homes and stuff like that? Is that what VPN filter was about?
So although they were targeting consumer level devices, the targets were actually enterprises using these kind of devices.
Interesting.
And we noticed most of the IP addresses of the devices that were being compromised were located in Ukraine. So we saw that kind of as an attack against several corporations based in Ukraine.
It's interesting you say that. So I'm sensing a little bit of a theme here where, users and individuals and consumers seem to be the target to then make their way into an a corporate organisation or an enterprise. So is this something that attackers do? They don't directly go at the organisation, they try and find an easier way to get into them? That's one of the things they're trying to do?
Well, here it was really the case that enterprises were trying to save money by not buying the full-fledged enterprise products and really using these cheaper devices. And the problem with that is these smaller companies, they don't always have the resources to audit the code to do like secure development on these devices. So we sometimes even we have a vulnerability research team, so sometimes we buy these devices and we have a look at them, and we always find vulnerabilities in them. So this was actually being abused to attack these corporations. And also these devices often don't get patched and updated, and that's one of the big issues that we saw.
Okay, interesting. So we talked about Talos, we've talked about all the different threats. Is there any place where people can go find more information out about Talos or more about these threats? Is there any place people can go to sort of get themselves educated and things like that?
So yeah, the website www.talosintelligence.com. The blog is one of the major resources that we have, but we have a pretty interesting podcast as well.
Have a podcast?
Yep. Beers with Talos, it's called.
Beers with, I like the sound of beers with Talos. So do you get to drink a beer while you listen to the podcast?
Well, I've never been on the podcast myself, but of course, if you're at home listening to it, more than welcome to join with your own beer.
Well, I'm sure with what you've shared with us today, there'd be a lot of people tuning into the podcast to hope to hear your voice and your insights from Talos. So do you expect to be on there soon?
Well, I'm based in Asia, so I'm kind of in the wrong time zone because it's usually recorded in the US. But who knows in the future, if I have a trip out there, I might join the podcast.
So, we haven't got much time left. So if you were to sort of summarize sort of 3 key points that users and consumers at home and organizations need to do to increase their security awareness, to help protect themselves and the companies they work for against threats, what would be those 3 sort of key things that you would do to achieve that?
So I would say definitely user education, avoid password reuse, and do phishing tests in the company.
So that's 1, or is that all 3?
Dual authentication. Access to email, especially remotely, VPN. I think dual authentication there is a big must as well.
Yep.
And patch management, keeping your systems up to date.
So just really simple things. It's not rocket science.
Nope.
So it's just making sure we get the education, we make the right investments on tools and things like that, and just continue to protect ourselves from the advanced threats out there.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ben.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for the time today, and we hope you enjoyed this and other sessions that will happen at Cisco Live.
An organization is only as strong as its weakest link. That's why security is the #1 priority for today's organizations of every size and industry. The security landscape is dynamic and ever-changing, with threats ranging from ransomware to data theft becoming increasingly sophisticated and elusive every day. When an organization has aging security infrastructure or a shortage of talent, it leaves them at risk for data breach, network downtime, and is a threat to innovation. So how does a company improve security while also growing and remaining agile to new opportunities? How can they improve their breach readiness, network visibility, and compliance while continuing to innovate towards the future? The answer is with Cisco Security Services and our team of industry-leading cybersecurity experts. The global leader in security strategy and architecture, helping the world's largest companies innovate and grow from a secure foundation. Our managed security services provide monitoring, threat detection, and response capabilities by leveraging the combined efforts of our people, technology, intelligence, and analytics to give you visibility over threats that slip through perimeter defenses. And if a data breach ever occurs, our elite incident response team is on call and can travel on site within hours to provide emergency assistance. We are the largest cybersecurity and networking company in the world, with more than 30 years of experience creating solutions that work for our customers. We understand security and the network better than anyone else, and we're ready to help you stay secure as you innovate towards the future. Cisco Services. Accelerate.
Devices, 300 billion of them, connecting to networks, inside the office and outside. IoT devices, personal devices. Organizations don't know who's on them, where they are, what apps they're running. You can't control what you can't see. And if you can't control it, you can't secure it. Now you can. Cisco Identity Services Engine, or ICE, gives your enterprise network visibility. It delivers an unprecedented level of detail about who and what is on your network, including location, device, contact information, granular insight into applications, and much more. Deep visibility across your network enables ICE to provide powerful, unified access control from a single point. Its best-in-class profiling technology identifies every device, corporate, personal, or otherwise. And by sharing its data with other networking solutions, ICE gives you powerful visibility that allows your network to be faster, smarter, and more secure. Its simple, intuitive graphic interface enables you to get set up and gain insights the same day. You can deploy ICE in minutes and customize your views to the data you need. Your digital network is evolving. To manage it, you need to see the entire picture. Cisco Identity Services Engine delivers it. With rich user and device data, faster insights, and better control. So you and your enterprise can grow at the pace of tomorrow.
IT organizations are spending an average of 76% of their attention focused on securing the data center. Now that workloads are more dynamic and moving across on-prem and multi-cloud environments, traditional standalone methods for security are no longer enough to protect application workloads from threats. Cisco is redefining security for the modern data center with a zero-trust security approach to seamlessly follow and protect workloads wherever they go. The Cisco Secure Data Center solution constantly learns, adapts, and protects so you can see everything across the extended network. With security analytics and behavioral modeling, we offer a complete view across the entire network, including the data center, which enables you to know who is on the network and what they're doing, because you can't protect what you can't see. Reduce the attack surface. Keep bad actors contained by preventing them from moving across the data center with consistent security policy enforcement through microsegmentation and application whitelisting. This reduces the scope of an attack by limiting its ability to spread through the data center from one resource to another. Quickly detect, block, and respond to breaches. We deliver comprehensive threat protection capabilities to mitigate threats in real time. All network traffic is monitored to detect malware, advanced threats, and anomalous behavior to reduce risk and protect your business. With complete visibility, multi-layered segmentation, and threat protection capabilities, Cisco's Secure Data Center solution is built to integrate, adapts to changing needs, and enables you to achieve greater efficiency. To learn more about how to secure your data center, go to cisco.com/go/secure-data-center.
Enterprise networks are becoming increasingly complex, with new devices, applications, and users added every day. Employees are demanding access to resources from more places than ever before. At the same time, online attackers continue to innovate and improve their capabilities. Added network complexity decreases visibility, making it exceedingly difficult to uncover malicious activities. By integrating Cisco StealthWatch with the Cisco Identity Services Engine, or ISE, enterprises can gain unmatched network visibility in order to identify the source of attacks. StealthWatch and ISE help organizations obtain a 360-degree view of the network, respond to threats faster, and safeguard a growing digital business. First, Cisco StealthWatch collects and analyzes network telemetry such as NetFlow from existing routers, switches, and firewalls. Through advanced behavioral analysis, it can baseline normal generation access control platform. ISE delivers the username, device type, location, type of connection, and more. StealthWatch can also send commands back to ISE to automatically quarantine suspicious users or change access policies to rapidly contain a threat. Correlating extensive network visibility from StealthWatch with comprehensive user and device details from ISE dramatically improves the speed and accuracy of incident response and forensics. StealthWatch with ISE also allows for better network segmentation, regulatory compliance, and operational efficiency. Together, these technologies can transform existing networks into highly scalable, always-on security sensors and enforcers for unparalleled threat defense. To learn more, visit cisco.com/go/stealthwatch and cisco.com/go/ISE.
It's all the rage these days. Companies touting machine learning this or machine learning that. So how does Cisco use it? For more effective security. Take a deeper dive into machine learning at cisco.com/go/stealthwatch. Cybersecurity threats seem to come from everywhere today. They know that layers of technology create blind spots that cover their tracks. That's why we created Cisco Threat Response. Fast detection, simple investigation, confident response.
Okay, network is all set up. Securing what connects to it is your problem.
Done.
What? How?
Cisco connects everything. Of course they have endpoint security.
That's when Barry realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Why are you still up there?
What about endpoints?
So many overfunded startups. I don't know any of them.
Cisco isn't a startup.
Whoa.
That's when Deborah realized Cisco AMP secures endpoints.
Deborah?
Why is nothing integrated?
Hey, Cisco already protects our networks. They do endpoint security too.
All endpoints like this?
Yep.
That?
Yep.
All of this?
That's when Adam realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. This is a firewall, but it does so much more than just access control and filtering. It's a Cisco next generation firewall that prevents breaches automatically so your business never goes down. Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit, and Cisco firewall customers were automatically protected. We have Talos, the largest independent threat research team on the planet, who analyze millions of threats daily and create security protections against the next big attack. Worried that your firewall isn't showing you the full picture? The Cisco firewall gives you the deepest and broadest visibility across your network. It continuously monitors for suspicious activity to detect and stop threats fast. The Cisco firewall automates networking and security operations. It prioritizes alerts, correlates threat information, and integrates with the rest of your security tools, saving time and headaches. Don't let your firewall work you. Make it work for you. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. Say hello to Cisco SD-WAN. We've integrated an enterprise firewall, intrusion prevention system, and URL filtering, and protected by Cisco Talos. Learn more at cisco.com/go/SD-WAN-security. Whether you're establishing trust for a user and their devices or reducing your attack surface, Cisco Trusted Access is a practical, zero-trust approach to security. Take your first step with Cisco's multi-factor authentication, and then continue your journey to rebuild trust.
This is our best quarter to date, and I don't want a security issue to mess up the call team. We all know what happened to Qualicar. They didn't discover that.
Any problems?
Possibly.
Earnings reports within the hour. Solve this.
I need absolute guarantee.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So we've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity, and incident response. That nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this. You've got to come through on security.
There are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price, the board. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home. I don't think so. Isolating the host. Blocking the domain. And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.
It's all the rage these days. Companies touting machine learning this or machine learning that. So how does Cisco use it? For more effective security. Take a deeper dive into machine learning at cisco.com/go/stealthwatch. Cybersecurity threats seem to come from everywhere today. They know that layers of technology create blind spots that cover their tracks. That's why we created Cisco Threat Response. Fast detection, simple investigation, confident response.
Okay, network is all set up. Securing what connects to it is your problem.
Done.
What? How?
Cisco connects everything. Of course they have endpoint security.
That's when Barry realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Why are you still up there?
What about endpoints?
So many overfunded startups, I don't know any of them.
Cisco isn't a startup.
Whoa.
That's when Deborah realized Cisco AMP secures endpoints.
Deborah.
Why is nothing integrated?
Hey, Cisco already protects our networks. They do endpoint security too.
All endpoints like this?
Yep.
That?
Yep.
All of this?
That's when Adam realized Cisco AMP protects endpoints.
Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw. This is a firewall, but it does so much more than just access control and filtering. It's a Cisco next generation firewall that prevents breaches automatically so your business never goes down. Wanna cry? NotPetya? VPN filter? Cisco stopped these mega breaches and others before they hit, and Cisco firewall customers were automatically protected. We have Talos, the largest independent threat research team on the planet, who analyze millions of threats daily and create security protections against the next big attack. Worried that your firewall isn't showing you the full picture? The Cisco firewall gives you the deepest and broadest visibility across your network. It continuously monitors for suspicious activity to detect and stop threats fast. The Cisco firewall automates networking and security operations. It prioritizes alerts, correlates threat information, and integrates with the rest of your security tools, saving time and headaches. firewall work you, make it work for you. To learn more, go to cisco.com/go/ngfw.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Cybersecurity Insights live broadcast. So we are down to our last most awesome session for the week. So for the past 4 days, we've been broadcasting live from Cisco Live Melbourne. We began with our Innovation Day and our Cybersecurity Insights, where we had almost 40 interviews from our top leaders and security experts, giving all of you business insights, customer insights, threat insights, and tech talks. My name is Cecile Gonzalez, and I am joined today by Ben Monroe and Steve Moros. Hi Ben, hello
Hey
Steve.
Cecile. Hey Cecile, how's it going?
Doing great, thank you.
Good.
So you both were with us for the past few days here at Cisco Live. What were the key highlights for you both?
Steve?
Well, I must say, right now, it's your shirt.
I tried to add a little spice to the last,
you sure did.
presentation, Steve.
So for me, the key highlights have been, all the customers that have been speaking to us, the energy that they've brought, the feedback, the questions, and the insights. I mean, that's for me has been a key highlight. But overall, the presentations had a lot of powerful messages. We heard from so many different speakers. Scott Harrell, John Maynard, Stephen Dane. Then we had some guest speakers, from the government, Alistair McGibbon. All that information, all that engagement, and all of those meetings with partners have been the key highlight for me, that interaction. It's probably what makes these events so great, the time that we spend with our customers and partners.
Yeah, I think that the touched on a very important point there, Steve, which is the kind of range of different topics that we've managed to cover in security this week.
Yep.
So when you think about our Innovation Day, where we spent the day talking to 130 or so of our customers, we really offered a number of different perspectives on security. And it wasn't just about the threat landscape and the defenders who are constantly working to protect against that. It was about how security can be foundational, how security should be built into the planning and the strategy when you're rolling out your SD-WAN implementation. So Scott Harrell asked a really interesting question, which was, how many of you are currently working on an SD-WAN project? And a few hands went up.
Yep.
Then he said, how many of you have got an Office 365 project? Not every hand, but a majority of hands.
Almost all.
And then he said, what, you've all got an SD-WAN project? Because of course, the implication of connecting to cloud services means that you have to offer that connection wherever they are. So the idea that security is foundational to that kind of project was crucial. And again, at the Innovation Day, we had Janan Budge from Forrester talking to us about her perspective. As you said, we had the government perspective from Australia and the networking perspective. It was super to step outside the world of attack and defense and think about security from a larger perspective. And then Michelle Denedy, our Chief Privacy Officer, she talked about good password hygiene, right? She talked about the importance of doing privacy well, how companies who are prepared for GDPR, so I've got good privacy hygiene, are actually able to sell faster. Their sell cycle has been reduced. So super practical advice from a really well-rounded 360-degree discussion in security. And frankly, where else can you get that perspective than somewhere like Cisco Live? Because you've got 8,000 of our customers,
That's right.
our partners. We've got people who care about collaboration, about networking, about data center, and security is in foundation in all of that. So that's what
I think that they came out very loud and clear this year that security is foundational, but it's also something that we do with everything. In everything that we do at Cisco, in all of our switching infrastructure, our data center infrastructure, our access points, any device that connects at Cisco, security is inherently built into it. And that definitely came out loud and clear as a big statement this year, and our customers have also said that as well. Another thing was, the new kids on the block, Duo. I've been over the Duo stand a few times, and there's a lot of interest there. And the key thing that I'm hearing from customers is the simplicity and the speed to deploy to get their trust and edge protected, which has been great. And I see that going from strength to strength. as it integrates into the rest of our portfolio. So that's been a real highlight, hanging out with the Duo guys.
Couldn't agree more. What's been a highlight for you, Cecile?
It's our customers. So we've been broadcasting for 4 days, and it's very interesting to hear all the customers' feedbacks and reactions, and we've had a lot of views for the couple of days. So yesterday we were at 20,000 views for security alone, and that's something that's very, very good.
That's great. It shows people are wanting to listen to the experts that we've had on the show.
Yes,
and I think
correct.
also here on the show floor we've had hundreds of people come through the SOC, through our Security Operations Center, and get a SOC tour. We've had people playing the threat hunting game, people coming up to get their T-shirts and their ice
Correct,
cream.
and their
It's been a busy spot.
Yeah, we had the virtual reality hub as well. So that's something that they can look out for next year as well. Our cybersecurity experience hub.
Yeah.
It's something that's been very, very great this year.
Now you talked about the Duo news, Steve, and it's been great to introduce our customers to the newest member of our family, but also, you know, we've come out with 3 other major announcements this week. So first of all, we launched the CISO benchmark study for 2019, where we spoke to 3,200 CISOs and security leaders worldwide, and we found out, you know, some good news and some bad news, right? They're feeling a bit better about their jobs. Their cyber fatigue is down in terms of, you know, a way that our respondents feel. And yet when it comes to some of the practical matters like dealing with alerts and managing multi-vendor environments, that's as hard as ever. So that was one launch we made.
Yeah.
We talked about our approach to trusted access, which obviously hinges on, you know, Duo is the first step there with our multi-factor authentication. We talked about Cisco Threat Response, that amazing tool, a browser-based, SaaS-delivered tool that's allowing responders to query large amounts of threat intelligence on one side and then their portfolio on the other side and match those two up to see what's gone wrong and how they fix it. And we also you know, made announcements for our AMP for endpoints and our threat hunting. So
lots of key announcements there. And one thing I wanted to add to that was the Talos topic. You know, that's almost like the secret sauce. You know, it's the intelligence that we deliver into all of our platforms. So when you spoke about Cisco Threat Response, a lot of our clients are talking to us about, you know, how do you actually decrease detection times? And a key part of that is the Talos intelligence that we have and the information that goes into all of our platforms. So when we talk about security everywhere, you know, what we really do mean by that is that we take all these intelligence feeds and put them into our infrastructure to help customers, you know, address some of those issues with cyber fatigue, detection times, and protecting their business and their customers.
Okay. So you've mentioned about customers, Steve. So aside from our key messages, aside from our announcements, so customers are the reason why we are here. And you've been speaking to our customers. You've been speaking to a lot of our customers. Can you share us their feedback and what were they saying?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's been a lot of customer meetings, and we've been in back-to-backs, having conversations, and great conversations. But a few things that came out loud and clear from the customers are that they expect more from Cisco. You know, they want us to help them leverage their investments. A lot of our customers have been investing in Cisco infrastructure for a very long time, and they're very loyal and committed to that stack. But what they're asking us for is Cisco explain to us how we can expand that with security in mind. So that's almost every single meeting customers said, help us leverage our investments to secure our business. The other one that's been coming out loud and clear is that, you know, the industry for cyber is fragmented. And we were part of that story as well, you know, that created that, you know, fragmented, complicated environment. So a lot of customers are saying, we don't want to live in that fragmented space. And so they're talking to us about, we want to commit to an architecture, and we want to commit to less vendors. And the fortunate thing is that a lot of customers are saying, we want that to be you, Cisco, because we believe in your strategy. But we need to, you know, show our customers how we can take them on their journey. So that was coming out, you know, the complexity. And the other thing that a lot of customers were talking about was, you know, they don't really have the luxury of being able to hire resources. What came out from speaking to all those customers, they're all trying to hire cyber people. And so are we. And so, you know, at the end of the day, I thought to myself, there's probably not enough cyber people. So the human element is not necessarily the solution to solving problems. And this is, again, where customers are talking about, what can you do to help us with automation? You know, protecting my network and business from all of the known issues. And so that's another thing that a lot of customers were talking to us about. So the, you know, the architecture, the resource, and the automation.
Okay. So aside from our customers, we also have our partners. What can you say about what our partners have been saying?
Yeah, I think the customer and the partner are at the center of everything we do, right? So the customer is why we innovate, and the partner is kind of how we deliver that innovation. And so it's been really wonderful spending time with hundreds of our security partners here this week. And I think they take the situation as seriously as we do in terms of the need for us to be able to help our customers better, and they see the opportunity to do that with Cisco. So we looked at we talked to 3,200 customers worldwide to do our CISO study, right? And we found that globally, 79% were overwhelmed by the number of alerts they have to try and manage and the orchestration of those alerts across multiple vendors. Here in APJC, the situation was so much more acute, with over 90% of customers saying, look, the situation is getting out of control. And for partners who are able to provide their customers a solution that has multiple products from a vendor like Cisco, with shared threat intelligence, shared context, shared policy, shared event data, which makes it faster to respond and easier to manage, we help to solve some of that employment shortage. I mean, we're actually getting now to the point where there are so many millions of jobs that are unfilled that we can't solve that problem by filling those jobs.
And we heard John speak about that as well.
Right, we need to find a different way of doing it, and the portfolio approach, that's the way, and at least that's what our customers are telling us, right? I mean, and our partners are responding to that and validating it. That's how we're going to solve it as a member of this industry.
Yeah, and the partners definitely all spoke about, we need to work closer with Cisco to get some knowledge on where you're going and what your strategies and roadmaps are. So I guess my kind of summary for the partners is they want more information from us about where we're going. And obviously our theme this year has been, how do we help customers from being overwhelmed to empowered? And our partners are asking us to help them be more empowered to service those customers. So that knowledge transfer, helping them build their practices, and ensuring that we deliver the platforms to them with the training as well. So there's a lot of that they've been talking about.
Great.
Okay, Steve, you've mentioned about our customers wanting to know where we are going. So anything that you would like to share to our audience watching now as a key takeaway?
The key takeaway for me is, as I said, mentioned before, I'm a little bit biased here because I work in the security space, but I'm very passionate about driving cyber awareness. But the key takeaway for me is that we are definitely investing heavily in cybersecurity at Cisco. And we're investing across our entire portfolio. And we are bringing platforms and solutions to our customers that solve the business challenges. So that's the key thing for me. It's really about that customer centricity with everything that we do, and the investments that we're making to help solve these challenges that are out there. So that's the key takeaway for me.
How about for you, Ben?
I think the response to the way that we've talked about the portfolio this week is super encouraging. I think customers should expect to see more from us on key areas of defense required, so the endpoint, public-private cloud and hybrid cloud environment and workload security, a continued development of network security to the point where we can help with the IoT problems and help them address more of that, a continuation of our trusted access story. So really it's all about making our customers safer incrementally, more and more as time goes by across those various points of presence in the network. So.
And all those that you've mentioned, we've had interviews with our subject matter experts about them. So I think that's one of the things that our audience can look forward to, our video on demand sessions.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you, Cecile.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Steve.
Great job,
to have
Cecile.
you with us.
And great job, Ben.
Thank you, everyone. See you again next year for exciting episodes at Cybersecurity Insights Live. Stay tuned and look out for our video on demand sessions. We're going to have them available for everyone to view soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
This is our best quarter to date, and I don't want a security issue to mess up the call. We all know what happened to Qualcomm. They didn't discover that.
Any problems?
Possibly.
Earnings reports within the hour.
No longer exist.
Solve this.
I need absolute guarantee.
Interesting. Let's take a look. So we've seen you before. What are you after?
Threat intelligence, cybersecurity, and incident response. That nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be at risk. I know you're all working together on this. You've got to come through on security.
Yeah, are places you, my friend, should not be talking to.
This affects our stock price, the board. We have big contracts riding on the...
You've infected some machines that are now trying to call home. I don't think so. Isolating the host. Blocking the domain. And our user's data is safe.
The call is in less than an hour. I need answers. I need guarantees. I need absolute guarantees.
We're good.
More than a good earnings report is at stake here.